Somewhere in this world, the members of the guild called Light of Glory are fighting a large, fiery magical beast. As the beast blows flames toward the squad, one of the members blocks it with his shield and comments that it is not hot enough. However, one of his legs catches fire and he panics. Another member tells him to leave the recovery to him while he extinguishes the fire. Then, a mage named Dorothy casts a freezing hell spell as she utters Causitus. This sets up the next move to be carried out by the leader of the guild, Claude. He uses his sword to execute a hard strike and manages to injure the beast. After that, he uses his special ability called Magic Sword to land the final blow and finishes it off, and then sheaths his sword. He comments that even large magical beasts are nothing. He also tells Leonard, the leader of another guild, that he is just too slow. Leonard asks if he got beaten again and comments that it is harsh, but Claude says that if he is like this, he can see why he could lose to them in the guild ranks. After that, one member of Leonard's guild angrily says that this quest was supposed to be a joint effort with them from the beginning. But Leonard tells the member to stay quiet, it's good that they beat the monster without a problem. Claude replies that they should at least thank his guild for not leaving a bunch of deadbeats behind, and tells one of his guild members, Fildo, that they are leaving. As they are leaving, one of the members of Leonard's guild looks at Fildo and questions why he has been hiding in the back the whole time, to which another member agrees and calls him the point gifter. Another member comments that Fildo sat behind a rock and watched his comrades fight, which leaves Leonard speechless. After some time, the members of the Light of Glory guild are celebrating their victory as Claude gives a toast to further the growth of their guild, and they all raise their glasses. Then, Warrior Bobson remarks on how much their guild has grown. The priest Carl asks Dorothy if it isn't true that everyone's level has pretty much reached its peak, to which she agrees and wonders if there is any other guild that could compete with them. Claude proudly states that they are obviously the strongest in terms of size and level, and comments he doesn't know where Fildo is wandering around on such a happy day, to which someone replies that it was Claude who told Fildo to do the chores. Elsewhere, Fildo is walking on the road and remembers he forgot something from the list. A man beside him is moving boxes and screams as he mishandles them, to which Fildo acts quickly and prevents the boxes from falling, and asks if the man is okay. The man happily thanks Fildo, and asks why he is letting them use him again, to which Fildo replies that he is in a hurry and runs away. He then exhaustedly approaches the house and narrates he is aware that he is being used. As he opens the door, Carl shouts that he is late, followed by Claude's comment that he took so long just to buy the healing potion. Dorothy says that it can't be helped, as he is just level 1, and adds that even this amount of work is hard for him, while it is just a few short runs for them. Meanwhile, Fildo thinks that they should have just gone and got it done by themselves, instead of drinking and making sarcastic comments. But then Claude hugs Fildo and asks him persistently to not be upset, as his skills had helped him a lot. Dorothy, leaning close to Fildo, says that he can also get the monster material there, and still he didn't do anything, but they let him off for taking it once in a while. Fildo doesn't like this attitude toward himself, so he shrank away from them, which amuses Dorothy. After that, Claude offers Fildo a drink and says, at least let them treat him with a glass of water, but Fildo denies it and says he is going back, to which Dorothy comments he is so cold. As he leaves, Claude, facing the opposite way, asks Fildo to wait, as he holds a piece of paper and tells him that it's his job. He further says that due to the inadequate performance of the party, this quarter of his share is reduced. After reading the note, Fildo replies that he understands and goes away. Then, the team continues their drinking and Dorothy again notes that it is convenient for them to have the power of the point gifter. She adds that the experience gained just by having Fildo on the team has more than doubled. Moreover, the amplified experience can be distributed freely as he pleases. Thus, their guild, the Light of Glory, has grown to be the number 1 in the country. Dorothy now assumes their power is more than enough for something, and asks the other member about it, to which Carl and Bobson agree while smiling. Fildo went to his room and lit up the lamp, saying that it's time to get some fresh air, and then he lies down on his bed. He holds the note up and starts reading that he has been instructed to reduce the amplified parts of both the White Mage Maria and Warrior Bobson. He narrates that he has been part of the guild for 7 years now and his level hasn't gone up at all. They usually keep him in the back and assign his skill and experience to the guys who can fight better, as he only can distribute and amplify the experience of the members. As he changes the experience indicators of the group, he thinks that he doesn't need levels, as he remembers the past, when Claude, stroking his head, asked if he decided which guild he was going to join, and says that if he hadn't decided yet, then he should join them, as they are going to be the best guild out there. Then, while thinking he certainly can't stand them anymore, he falls asleep. The next day, Fildo arrives at the office and can't believe what he has just heard. Claude, after discussing with other members, tells Fildo that he is not needed anymore. Fildo shockingly asks what he just said, to which Claude repeats that simply put, he is fired, and thanks him for all his hard work until now. Fildo says he knows his level is low, but he assumed that he contributed to the guild through his experience-sharing abilities. But before he finishes, Dorothy, while leaning close to Fildo, says that they no longer need those experiences and asks him if he understands. Moreover, Bobson says in an intimidating manner that no one can compare with them now, considering their level and ability, they are already the strongest. Furthermore, Bobson comments that a member like Fildo is a burden to them, as he can't do anything. He adds that all the guild members are high level now, and his existence at the low level is nothing more than a hindrance. Other members also comments that his sword and magic are very ordinary, and he won't be able to do anything if he leaves this place, while someone else laughingly adds that they shouldn't make such remarks, as the only reason his level is low is because they didn't let him fight. Fildo keeps his head down and listens to everything, when Claude tells him that this is the unanimous decision of the guild, and apologizes while laughing. In response, Fildo seriously asks if he is sure that he wants him to leave, which shocked the other members, as they began to laugh. Bobson then goes near him and says that he should get it already, that they are telling him to get out of there immediately. Ignoring their taunts, Fildo goes closer to Claude, which pisses off Bobson and shocks the members around. Fildo then firmly asks again if he is certain, because if he takes back the experience they have gained using his skill, it will affect them as well. To which Claude replies that he understands everything, and they are not a social club, so they wouldn't give rewards to useless people like him. To which Fildo angrily replies that it's not just them. The whole squad wouldn't be like this if it were not for him, and asks Claude if he understands. Claude gets angry hearing that, and pushes him hard, which makes Fildo falls on the ground. Claude, without any pity, says that he is making too much noise, and calls Fildo an lowly adventurer. Leaning on the wall closing the door, Dorothy tells Fildo to not think even for a second that he is getting his severance pay. She then throws out her sword, saying that she doesn't need that broadsword anymore. And while calling him a level 1 adventurer, she tells Fildo to not starve to death, and sarcastically adds that if he runs out of money, he can always start begging, as it sure will suit him. Another member sarcastically asks Dorothy to not say the truth, to which Dorothy laughingly replies that sometimes the truth hurts, and then she slams the door. As Fildo picks up his old sword, he angrily announces that he understands. He lifts his left hand to make a gesture of squeezing, while a bunch of windows with experience points appear and start to break, as it seems like he taking their experience points. Fildo says that this will be the last time he sees Claude, and closes his fist in anger. He announces that the experience he lent to Claude, he is taking it all back, and narrates that for a guild like this, he is quitting as well. Afterwards, Fildo recalls a time when he was still part of the Light of Glory. One evening his team visits a tavern, where a visitor raves about the best dish he has ever tasted, which is dragon meat. He describes it as fatty, tasty, and incomparable to anything else, emphasizing that such food is reserved for adventurers, and cannot be found in regular markets. Noticing Fildo's interest, Claude asks why he is so intrigued, and mentions that someday he too will get a chance to eat it, which makes Fildo drools. The next morning, Fildo wakes up in a tree wrapped in a blanket. He notices his level is still rising, which puzzles him. After stretching and trying to shake off the odd dream where Claude treats him kindly, he sees that his level continues to grow. He decides to walk through the snow to see how long the rise will last, but it doesn't stop, even as he quickens his pace. Fildo wonders if he is somehow redistributing experience points among the guild members, leading to this rapid growth. Eventually, he stops paying attention to the rise, but then a thought strikes him. He wonders if the enhancements his former comrades received might also return to him. If this happens, it would be a game changer. When he finally checks his stats, he gets shocked to see that status has drastically improved, far surpassing even the royal guards and the commander, which leaves his hands trembling in disbelief. Realizing his newfound power, Fildo begins to think about the possibilities now open to him, things he never dared to consider as a member of the Light of Glory. As his level continues to rise, he ponders his future where he could become a knight, a first-class adventurer, or even rich. His weakness has held him back before, but now, with his strength, everything seems possible, and after remembering Claude's words, Fildo thinks about founding his own guild, one that would not treat its members as poorly as he had been treated. His recent dream about the dragon meat lingers in his mind, so Fildo happily heads to the city and announces that he should get some dragon's meat. Entering the Adventurers Guild of the Kingdom of Aelia, he is greeted by a smiling girl at the counter. After learning his name, she informs him that as a first-time visitor, he needs to fill out paperwork for new members. When she asks what task he wants to take, Fildo boldly replies that he wants to take an order for dragons, to which the other adventurers get shocked. The girl behind the counter asks if she has heard him correctly, to which Fildo explains that he specifically wants to hunt a dragon because he longs to taste its meat. A man with a scar on his face, who had overheard the conversation, bursts into laughter. He taunts Fildo, saying that even he, a seasoned adventurer, cannot handle a dragon, so a beginner like Fildo has no chance. The man challenges Fildo to show his strength, but the girl quickly reminds them that fighting is prohibited in the guild. Fildo has no intention of getting into a conflict, but the man, who is much larger than Fildo, is determined to prove his superiority. He attacks, and although Fildo manages to dodge the first blow, he doesn't expect the man to be so serious about starting a fight. The other guild members watch with interest, even urging the man to end the duel quickly, while the girl at the counter pleads for the fight to stop. The man reassures her not to worry, claiming he only wants to teach the young man a lesson, not fight him seriously. As the old man swings at Fildo, he skillfully dodges each attack, which only irritates his opponent further. The man warns Fildo that dragons are far stronger and faster, and simply dodging will not be enough against them. Fildo, however, is just waiting for the right moment. And then, something unexpected happens, as Fildo grabs the man and with one swift move, he knocks him into the ground. The onlookers get stunned seeing that, as their jaws drops in disbelief. A hush falls over the room, followed by a buzz of incredulous whispers. After knocking the man down, Fildo places his hand on his shoulder and tries to say something, but the man is too shocked to comprehend what has just happened. Fildo leans in and apologizes, admitting that he had not meant to surprise him so much, and then help the man to get up. The girl behind the counter is speechless, as she can't believe that a new guild member has so easily defeated an experienced adventurer. To her, Fildo had seemed like a child, but his strength had proven otherwise. Snapping out of her daze, she hears Fildo's voice as he bows and apologizes for the mess he has caused. After his apologies, Fildo asks the girl again about the task he had mentioned earlier, to which she recalls that Fildo had asked for a mission involving dragons. She informs him that the guild has recently received reports of dragons possibly appearing far to the north of the royal capital, in the mountain area of Nalatilis region. As she provides this information, everyone present keeps their eyes fixed on Fildo, their curiosity piqued by his unexpected strength. Hearing what he needs, Fildo thanks the receptionist and hurries out of the guild, as he is eager to find the dragons. The receptionist warns him, saying going by himself is dangerous, and they usually form a team. But before she can even finish, Fildo is gone. Then, she notices the phone on her table is ringing, so she responds. On the other side, someone asks about Fildo's whereabouts, and the receptionist reveals it and gives the details. She also finds out that he was a former member of the Light of Glory, as she tells the person on the phone that Fildo is alone and incredibly strong. Meanwhile, Fildo narrates while happily dashing that this is his first mission. As he excitedly runs towards the destination, he says out loud that he can't wait for the dragon meat. In another scene, Bobson is standing with his arms closed, and as Carl approaches while looking at someone, he asks if it is her. Bobson happily comments he heard that the girl is a recent recruit, and she is quite powerful. At the same time, a man while lying in front of the girl says that she is a genuine monster. The man then gets back up on his feet, and furiously tells her to stop pretending to be cool. Then, he attacks her with his wooden sword, to which she tosses the book, and swiftly dodges his hit. After that, she appears behind him and counts from 1 to 5, to which the guy struggles and gets even angrier. She then tells the man that he has shown a lot of openings, and if she counts the first one, then it's 5 times. While sitting on the ground, the man scaredly says that he is done, he gives up. After watching the spar, Claude claps and praises the girl whose name is Ms. Lunaces, and comments that the guy would be dead if it was serious. He adds that's why she is known to be the Sword Saint, to which Lunaces politely thanks him. Meanwhile, Dorothy, while biting her nails, asks Claude if isn't he being too flirty just because she is a bit skilled, and she doesn't like that the girl gets princess treatment from him. Carl comments from the back, saying that a woman's anger is a scary thing, to which Claude replies that it can't be helped, as beautiful women are not kind to other beautiful women except themselves. It's because of jealousy. Dorothy tells Claude that he is having such fun talking to his little girl, to which he replies that this is bad. Afterwards, Claude comes to Dorothy and tells her that Lunacies is being suspicious about Fildo's absence, and right now he is deceiving her by saying that Fildo has taken a day off today. Then, Lunacies narrates that if possible, she would soon like to meet the person with experience-sharing ability. Claude tells Dorothy he never thought that Lunacies joined their team because she was looking for Fildo, and this excuse will not last long. To which she anxiously asks what are they going to do about it, and in response, Claude says there's nothing they can do about it. Claude says that he used Fildo's portion of the money to bring the Sword Saint there, so they should try to bring Fildo back. But Dorothy shouts that she will not go through all the trouble to bring back a piece of shit like him. Meanwhile, Carl asks Bobson if he has challenged Lunacies, but he replies that he decided not to, which confuses Carl. Bobson explains it's because he has a bad feeling about it. It's like his body has been losing its edge. Moreover, lately he feels like the equipment is becoming too heavy, but just then, Carl notices the phone ringing and tells him to wait. He then calls out Claude and Dorothy and announces that Fildo is heading north into the mountains. Claude says it seems like he took on a subjugation request alone, and thinks that it's quite reckless to go north alone. Suddenly, Claude gets an idea and laughs evilly while saying he knows what happened. Claude narrates that Fildo, who was on vacation, mistook that he grew stronger as his guild grew powerful, so he recklessly accepted the quest alone, and unfortunately, he was attacked by the bandits and died in the field. He laughs sinisterly and asks if this is going to be a good story, and if this is the greatest scenario ever, to which Dorothy amusedly says this is their chance to make up a believable story, as people normally don't try to handle a request alone. Then Claude asks, but how are they going to kill Fildo? And in response, Dorothy says it is not going to be a big deal, as they, the Light of Glory, are the top guild out there. Killing someone with that kind of mundane ability is going to be easy, and says that they should start gathering people right away. To which Claude agrees. He then grins evilly and announces that he will come as well, since he wants to make sure that Fildo is dead. Dorothy adds that she is coming too, but mentions that they should be careful. To which Bobson confidently says that if two of the best members from their guild are going, there is no chance that Fildo will survive. He narrates Claude the almighty magic swordsman, and Dorothy the mage with powerful magical powers. Carl announces that Fildo will die, and in response Claude orders them to go get some powerful guys, as they have some trash to clean up in the mountain. Meanwhile, Fildo is excitedly walking towards the destination, and thinking out loud whether he should make a stewed hamburger or a streak out of the dragon meat. After some time in another scene, a man says that there is a problem, and as he watches the huge line formed on the street, he comments that these people hasn't moved at all. Suddenly, a man with glasses shouts to the traffic, asking them to move back, as it is impossible to pass that way, to which the fat man asks what is going on. To which the guy replies it's a dragon. He finally came out on the street. The man nervously comments that it's a disaster, as he is carrying a huge amount of supplies with him. The man with the glasses says that if they can't go through there, then they will have to take a detour, which will cause a 3 to 4 days delay, but it can't be helped, as their luck is bad. Another guy on the street frustratingly comments to get ready for the detour, and another one says they may have to leave some of the cargo behind. At the same time, Fildo is running toward the dragon, while a random guy says he has contacted the guild about this matter, but he is not sure when they will come. Watching Fildo run towards the dragon, the man with the glasses tells him to wait and warns him about the dragon. The fat man asks Fildo if he is a novice adventurer and tells him that the guild will send a team soon, so he has to avoid this road until they arrive. But Fildo shouts that it is him, the one who received the subjugation request from the guild. The mustache man puts a hand on Fildo's shoulder and says he can understand that he is excited to start his new adventures, but he should be careful as dragons are difficult and scary. To which the man in the glasses agrees. The mustache man adds that he is not lying, as dragons are the kind of monsters that take several experienced adventurers to beat. Then, he notices the crest on Fildo's sword and surprisedly asks if he is a member of Light of Glory, to which Fildo softly replies that he is now an ex-member of that guild. The man says that means Fildo is a capable man, and he is sorry for saying something disrespectful because Fildo looks young. But Fildo says it's fine. He only said it because he is concerned about him. Then the man goes on to say that all the things they carry such as food, medicine, and clothing are extremely essential for them, so please help them slay the dragon. Fildo, while looking determined, says yes and moves forward, to which the man says he is counting on him. After some time, Claude and Dorothy arrive on the same street, as the man asks Claude if he is a comrade of Fildo, and tells him that Fildo had already gone up the road earlier. Meanwhile, Fildo stands in front of the dragon, and analyzes it while saying, "So this is a red dragon, the high-level monster." Then while grabbing his sword, he asks if this thing is the troublemaker on the road. The dragon notices him and stays silent, then starts to look the other way, to which Fildo gets confused and asks why it is looking away. He then immediately notices that the dragon is attacking him with his tail as he takes cover behind a tree, and as it slashes the tree in half, Fildo comments it's impressive. His back is covered with wood chips. Then, the dragon turns around and roars loudly in anger. Fildo narrates that the pressure is insane. His fingers are numb because of the strain, it shook him to his core. The dragon blows a flame at Fildo, but he manages to dodge it and comments that surprised him. The dragon tries to hit him again with his tail, but Fildo dodges while saying that he has already seen it. The dragon gets super angry and uses his claw to stomp Fildo, but Fildo dodges again, which confuses the dragon. While dodging the attack, Fildo jumps in the air and then counterattack, as he landed a strong blow with his sword on the top of the dragon's neck. Afterwards, he realizes that the scales are hard and the blade is not sharp enough, but as he pushes the sword harder on its neck, he narrates that it doesn't matter for his current state. And then he succeeds in slashing the neck as the dragon screams in pain. Afterwards, Fildo immediately screams out in excitement, saying that he did it. He can't believe that he killed a dragon all alone. Now he can eat the meat he was waiting for. At the same time, Claude and his team have reached there, while Fildo wonders if it's okay to drain the dragon's blood there. Suddenly, Fildo gets interrupted by Claude, who says that it has been a while. While grabbing the man with the mustache by his neck, he sarcastically asks Fildo if he missed him. Fildo calls out their names in surprise, to which Dorothy says it can't be helped, as their recent recruit is looking for him, and asks why don't he just come back voluntarily, to which Fildo angrily tells her to not play with him. Holding the man as a hostage, Claude asks if he should think again, as he will be doing this man a favor, so be considerate. He threatened Fildo by saying that if he doesn't cooperate, then his team will kill all of the merchant group, and will steal his victory over the dragon. Dorothy notices the red dragon lying dead on the ground, and asks Claude if he thinks Fildo did it, to which Claude replies he thinks that another party must have done it. He tells Fildo he doesn't care what happened, and utters scorching land while using his sword to attack Fildo. But he immediately realizes that his sword feels much heavier and gets worried. Moreover, Dorothy also worryingly tells Claude that it is just not the weight. She also can't take out the magic power in the sword. She gets frustrated and casts the spell of freezing hell on Fildo. However, the spell is not powerful enough, as it ends up giving Fildo a cool breeze. Dorothy gets shocked seeing that, and thinks that the magic freezing hell is her greatest spell, so how it can be the same as a beginner magic cold spell. The other members are in shock and can't believe what is going on, as there is no match of what they have been told before. And even before he finishes his sentence, Fildo smacks his face and drops him to the ground. Fildo, while removing the dust off his hands, says that Claude is being reckless, that he even instigated the guild members. He then looks at Claude with a cold look and asks what was that all about, which makes Claude furious. He angrily attacks Fildo, but Fildo dodges smoothly and throws a hard kick, which sends Claude flying to the ground. Dorothy screams Claude's name in worry, while Fildo tells him to not get involved with him anymore. Fildo then sheaths his sword, while Claude looks frightened, and Fildo says that he will also forget about them. Claude screams Fildo in anger, while Dorothy comes near Claude. Suddenly, Claude does something and causes a loud bang, which creates smoke, and takes cover using his hands. He says that the stream is making his vision blurry, and after the smoke clears out, he is surprised to see that they ran away. Fildo then makes sure that the fat man is okay, and helps him get up on his feet, to which he replies that he is fine, just a bit hurt when he was held roughly. The man then thanks Fildo for helping him, but Fildo replies it's his fault that he got them in trouble. The man adds, but still, it's a big deal to kill a dragon alone. Usually monsters are taken as raw materials to be sold, but it will be a pain to carry this, so he offers Fildo to use one of his carts. After some time, grilling a piece of dragon's meat on the fire, Fildo says that even though dragons are a great threat, their horns and organs can be used as medicine, their scales as armor and their claws as weapons, and their meat is a prized delicacy. There is no part of the dragon that is thrown away. The man asks Fildo if he is really sharing such a valuable thing with him, to which Fildo replies it's fine, as he helped him dismantle it, and he can't eat it all by himself anyway. The man prepares the skewer with spices and garnishes, and Fildo eagerly waits while standing behind him. The skewer is done, as the man takes it out and says there he goes, a spiced dragon skewer, which can only be found in this region. Fildo takes a bite of the skewer as it makes a sizzling sound, and the fragrant aroma of spices whets one's appetite. Fildo narrates that the sweet gravy of the meat is so rich that the flavor overflows when taken a bite. Moreover, the pungent taste tingles and stimulates the tongue. The fat man asks how it tastes, and in response Fildo shouts that it's the best. After that, Fildo seems to enjoy his time while feasting and hanging out with the fat man and the man with the glasses, while at the same time, Claude looks extremely frustrated, as he says damn it. The next day, Fildo brings one of the horns of the dragon, as he puts it on the counter of the reception, to which the lady receptionist and everyone around the office gets shocked. In a palace, a king is sitting on the throne, says Light of Glory guild leader Claude Galimatics and 3 officials of the guild, while Claude and his team seem to be in front of the king kneeling to show respect. The king says the reason he called them there is because he wants to know a few things. He says that a dragon was killed at Nautilus Street, and the merchants who were there complained about being detained by his fellow guild members, and then shortly after they were released, to which Lunacies gets confused. The king asks for an explanation, to which Claude replies that he finds it extremely upsetting. The king gets curious, while Claude says that as he already knows about the reputation of his guild. It is lamentable, but someone out there is pretending to be their guild, or this incident might be caused by one of their guild members, while Dorothy thinks it's impressive that he can be in front of a king with a straight face. The king asks for his assurance, to which Claude confirms that they have been in their conference room for the past few days, and the king says he understands. The king announces that the people doing evil in their name is a very serious matter, and according to the capabilities of his guild, there have been a lot of failed requests in the last few days, to which Claude quietly says that's right. The king says that for a guild master it is important to bring in new people who are capable, but nurturing those who are already in the team is equally important. He then warns Claude that according to recent events, negligence and overconfidence can lead to one's demise. He should never forget that. After that, the king tells them in a serious tone, it's only obvious that this matter has to be concluded as soon as possible, and they will be informed of any news as soon as it comes in, so Claude should stay on standby. The king then sends them back, to which Claude replies that he understands. Afterwards, Claude says while looking down in anger that he will teach Fildo a lesson for this humiliation. Lunacies was silent during this whole time, and narrates he wonders how can Claude move like that in such a short time. On the other side, Fildo remembers picking up a sack of coins, and says that he never thought he would get 100 gold coins as a reward for the dragon. Taking a sip from the cup, he further says he had no idea about the merchant, that he could have such a big store, as it had just about everything, from accessories to weapons and medicines. Suddenly the merchant named Gonzalez arrives with a cake, and tells him that he is not near there yet, to which Fildo gets surprised, and asks if there is not only tea, but also snacks. Gonzalez replies that as he invited Fildo over, he can definitely enjoy it without any stress, to which Fildo says he will take his word for it, and puts the snack in his mouth. Suddenly, a man comes from behind, and tells Gonzalez he was told that there is an adventurer named Fildo, to which Fildo finishes his mouthful, and replies that he is Fildo. The man first apologizes for the rudeness, and tells Fildo that he is a guard of the royal kingdom. He is there to receive Fildo, as the king requested an audience for him, which makes Fildo surprised. The man adds that a reward has been bestowed upon Fildo for slaying the dragon that have appeared in the mountain area. Fildo tries to deny the reward, but Gonzalez covers his mouth and whispers that it's not a good idea, denying a reward from the king is very disrespectful, while the man stares at them. The man then smiles, as Fildo is convinced by Gonzalez, and nervously says that he most humbly accepts it. After that, Fildo goes with the man and enters through the castle's door, standing in front of the king. The man says that he has brought Fildo Electria with him. The king looks directly into Fildo's eyes, at which Fildo gets nervous, and the man stays silent. Suddenly, the king smiles, and inquires Fildo so he is the man who slayed the dragon. Fildo bows down to show respect and says it is an honor to meet him for the first time, to which the king replies there is no need to be formal. He protected the logistics of the country by taking care of the dragon. The king says that they were having troubles dealing with the dragon. He is the hero of the country, so he should be proud of it. To which Fildo thanks the king while thinking that he just wanted to eat dragon meat though. The king says that he should first give out his reward before they talk more and calls Sebastian, who has it. The butler Sebastian comes towards Fildo, and while handing over the reward, he humbly requests Fildo to please accept. Fildo gets shocked by the size of the pouch and says he can't accept this many gold coins, but the king replies that they can't let the hero go home empty-handed. The king tells him that he would have given him one of his territories too, and asks if he is interested in becoming a lord, but Fildo nervously laughs and replies that he must be joking. He realizes that the king isn't, and says that he is very grateful for the offer, but even if he received it, he will not be able to manage it. Rather than receiving a land to live on, he prefers to roam around to see things with his eyes and gain some experience. The king says he understands, it's too bad that they could not keep him in, and jokingly says that perhaps the territory is a bit too small for him, but Fildo nervously replies that he is too kind with his words. The king announces in that case, if he needs any help at all, he is there to lend a hand. It can also be his second reward, to which Fildo shows gratitude by thanking him. The king says that he looks forward to seeing him again and orders the captain to see him off, to which the captain agrees and shows Fildo the way. After he leaves, the king says he got dumped while laughing, and he would love to keep someone with an experienced distribution ability in his country, but it was truly a shame that Fildo rejected. Fildo is walking down the street and is worried because it feels weird. He narrates how he should put it, but the king seems like a cunning old man and thinks this is what is expected of a country's highest authority, yet he never held this much money in his hands. Not just the reward from the guild, also from the country. He can buy what he needs, but he can't think of anything he wants that he can get with money. Suddenly, he realizes that he has to be well equipped, or else people won't have faith in him as an adventurer, while Lunaces notices him. He decides to go to Mr. Gonzalez's place for a while, and lists what he needs such as equipment and food, while Lunaces calls him and runs towards him from behind. Hearing her call, Fildo turns around while she gives him a tight hug, which makes Fildo startled. Lunaces says she knew it was him. She has been waiting to meet him for a long time, to which Fildo tells her to calm down, as her chest armor is hurting him. She tells Fildo she was told that he was on vacation when she asked about him, but as the other people on the street are staring, Fildo tells her to let go of him. Lunaces released him with a bright smile and tells him that she is just so happy. Fildo blushingly calls her name and says that she is the Sword Saint. She used to be an ace adventurer from another big guild from another place, and tells her that they are not acquainted with each other. But in response, she tells him to just call her Lunaces, and that she always respected him from the bottom of her heart. Fildo thinks that she is standing too close, while she says that giving up his own experiences and dedicating himself to the guild, moreover, the self-sacrifice and the spirit of altruism, is not something one can easily do. She speaks loudly that she understands that everything the Guild Light of Glory has achieved is due to his efforts from the shadows, to which Fildo nervously says that people are looking at her. He asks her to calm down as she is overwhelmed and tells her he can understand that she wanted to see him, but he is already quitting the guild, which shocks Lunaces as she asks why. Fildo stays silent for a moment and says that rather than quitting, it's more like that they forced him to leave. They have earned enough experience, so they don't need useless people like him anymore, to which Lunaces shockingly says that is terrible. Fildo then recalls the past, when Claude pushed him to the ground, and sadly says that he also gave them some friendly warnings. He tells her that he is presently working as a freelance adventurer. He has always wanted to do so many things, so he will now go solo at his own pace. But in response, Lunaces asks if he doesn't belong to any guild now, then she grabs his hands, and tells him that it would be extremely pleasing for her. She has no attachment to any guild that he doesn't belong to, so she excitedly requests him to form a party with her, to which Fildo gets confused. Afterwards, Lunaces goes back to the Light of Glory, and tells Claude that she wants to leave them, to which Claude furiously asks why. He says that he paid a good amount of money to have her there, and assures her that the incident that happened at the castle is not a big deal. But Lunaces replies it's not that, she has no other desires from a guild where Fildo doesn't exist. She apologizes for not telling him at the beginning, and mentions that she is going to return the deposit she received while signing the contract, and starts leaving. Claude gets furious while trying to stop her, as he smashes the table with his fist in frustration, and asks what is it with Mr. Fildo again and again, why so much for a brat who has no relation to her. He wonders why, as Fildo is nothing but just a convenient amplifier, but just then, Carl rushes and tells Claude there is some news about the guild members. As Claude is coming down the stairs, one member asks another member why is he not coming with them, to which he says because this quest is dangerous, and Claude asks them what is going on. One member reminds Claude he told them that they can be as strong as they want to be. Another member says that was certainly true before, but lately numerous quests have failed. Previously they were doing those quests very easily, and many adventurers who were supposed to be highly skilled have died as well. He says that depending on what happens next, they might leave this guild, to which Dorothy says that he must be joking, and the man while showing his injury asks if she thinks that this injury is a joke. Moreover, he just saw the Sword Saint leave, she must have given up as well, and the reason for all of this is the leader, to which Claude stresses and screams no. The members says that strange things have been happening ever since Fildo left. They thought they made progress, as Claude told them that joining this guild allowed them to increase their ability. He told them that taking Fildo is slowing them down, even though he always used to take Fildo on their more difficult quests, and asks what the hell he put Fildo through. In another scene, a big man along with other members discusses Elven country. The receptionist acknowledges the legends, while the big man recalls his grandmother's senile stories. And two random kids says they don't think it's true, and mock him for believing in such a lame story being a grown-up man. Meanwhile, Fildo thinks he guesses that information on elves is quite rare. He only knows it from a book he read a long time ago. He narrates that elves are a mysterious race that doesn't appear in public, and going to the country of the elves is his next goal, as it's all over the literature and folktales. Even if they do not exist, it's not unusual to find a similar race to them. Suddenly, Lunacies comes from behind and asks if he is interested in elves, to which Fildo nervously asks her to be quiet, as they are in the library. He asks why is she still there, to which she replies that she already told him that she wanted to form a party together. But Fildo reminds that he refused earlier, so she shouldn't be playing around there, and asks about her job with the guild, to which she proudly answers that if this was the case, then she has already quit, which shocks Fildo. She explains the only reason she joined is because of him, and then asks him about the book he is reading. Fildo answers that he is trying to find the country of elves. He knows it's just a wild tale, but the thrill of adventure is to discover something that no one has seen before, which surprises her. Meanwhile, other people in the library are getting annoyed by them, as Lunacies asks him then he should definitely form a party with her, as she knows how to get to the country of elves. The people inside gets fed up with them, as Fildo and Lunacies gets kicked out of the library, as they are told to be quiet inside. Fildo expresses guilt as he says that they got kicked out, and in response Lunacies says that he can't suddenly scream inside a library. Suddenly, Fildo in excitement holds her shoulders and asks if it's true about the country of the elves, which made Lunacies blush. She teasingly says that she might be able to show the way only if they can team up, which frustrates Fildo, and after a moment he says that he understands. He tells her that she can team up with him until they reach there, but this is only a temporary partnership. Lunacies gets happy hearing that, as Fildo persistently tells her that this is just temporary, while she tells him to start getting going. Meanwhile, Claude in distress asks what it means to suspend all activities of the Light of Glory Guild indefinitely. In response, the captain of the knights while showing the notice reads out that all future activities under their guild are strictly prohibited. He continues that His Majesty was very concerned after hearing what Claude said the other day, so he orders to apprehend those who are doing wrong and fraud under his name. So once it is resolved, he will be authorized to resume his activities again, and turns around to go back, while Claude can't believe this and requests him to wait. Claude asks what are they going to do in the meantime. Even if they can receive from this debacle, their funds are not unlimited, to which the captain says that's not for him to say, His Majesty's words are absolute, and further adds that if he finds out about any unauthorized activity, a more severe punishment will be imposed, and at worst, this guild could be disbanded. As he closes the door before leaving, he tells him that this notice doesn't stop him from doing activities on a personal level, so he can pick up trash or help out with the food distribution in the royal capital to make ends meet. While doing so, he can also serve the country. Claude in frustration screams that it must be a joke, they are the top guild, he is just making a fool out of himself. In frustration, Claude sits down on the floor and narrates how it happened as they kicked out the useless Fildo and brought in the Sword Saint, to which Dorothy asks him to calm down. He further narrates that this is where their guild should have started, and it is all about this. Bobson says to everyone that they heard them talking just now, and in reply a member says that's right. He apologizes to Bobson for showing him the pathetic sight and says that it's going to be okay, while Bobson narrates they can start over. While taking the badge off, the member says he knows it will be hard for them momentarily, but to just bear with it, and narrates that he still has his friends. He tells everyone that no adventurer would hang on to an inactive guild, and thus, he is going to look for another guild. He tells Claude that an adventurer never put themselves in dangerous situations, and apologizes while thanking him for everything he has done for him, to which Claude looks devastated. Bobson angrily tells the man that he must be kidding, as he has been sucking on the guild for long, he is aware of it. This angers the man, as he punches his face hard and knocks Bobson far away on the ground, then goes out of the door. Claude gets shocked seeing that, as Carl asks Bobson if he is alright, and mentions that it's unexpected of him to get blown that far. Bobson starts crying in pain, and yells that it hurts. He can usually take a punch like this, while Carl tries to calm him down, and says that he will try to fix it now. He tries to heal the wound, but to his surprise it doesn't work, and Claude and Dorothy after watching this says that they are falling apart. Carl cryingly says that his recovery magic is not working. He doesn't have any magic powers anymore, while Claude in extreme distress says that his guild, the Light of Glory, is crashing down. Afterwards in a forest, Fildo slices down a wolf in half, to which the other wolves ran away in fear. Fildo questions if there is an elven country in the middle of these woods, as he doesn't see anything that looks like a proper road. He recalls asking Lunacies how she found it, and in response, she warns him to not underestimate the war wolves, and excitedly tells him that there is a spring ahead and she wants to have a bath together, and he wonders if she might have known this for a long time. Suddenly, Fildo hears a voice coming from the spring, and then notices a war wolf is heading towards her way, and he screams to warn her. Fildo says this is bad, but Lunacies turns around and uses her hand to land a strong blow on the wolf's belly, while Fildo watches in shock. The wolf is pushed far as Lunacies asks if it wants to continue, to which the wolf cries in pain and ran away. She then turns around and welcomes Fildo back and asks if now he wants to join her, to which Fildo denies, and tells her it's because she was unarmed. Lunacies with a smile says so he was worried about her, and just as she thought, he is very kind. She asks again if he really doesn't want to join her in the bath, and if it's because her body is not attractive enough. But Fildo replies that he has no confidence, and ran away. After getting done with the bath, she tells Fildo that now they are going to enter the Mist Labyrinth. Following Lunacies, Fildo repeats Mist Labyrinth, as she tells him that most people can't even find the entrance, and even if they do, they can't get out. She continues that the country of the elves is located beyond the labyrinth, to which Fildo gets speechless. He stops and asks her how she knows so much about the country of the elves, and since the start she has been weirdly nice to him. He suspects her and says he doesn't think she is the kind of person who will admire someone only for the reason of selflessness. He assumes that she is an elf, but just then, a large werewolf appears in front of them and roars. Lunacies screams that it's a big werewolf as she takes out her sword and prepares for the attack. Fildo says he is also going to join her, to which Lunacies tells him to step back, as this level is too much for him. She says it's not her opponent, as she takes on the wolf and makes a strong strike to slice the wolf's neck, thus killing it in a single strike. Fildo, while walking past her, tells her that she was the one who asked him to be careful because they are tough, and ask her to forget what he just asked, as he can understand that she might have her reasons to not tell him, and apologizes for overstepping his boundary. Lunacies stays silent and promises that she will tell him about herself when the right time comes, because she wants him to genuinely know about her. She then tells him to come, as from there they will be entering the Mist Labyrinth, and as she asks for his hand, she tells him to never let it go. Fildo narrates, after saying that Lunacies walked off silently, and he never figured out the reason, and then Lunacies says that the country of the elves is just around the corner. After that, Lunacies asks him to come a little more to that side, to which Fildo complains that it's a bit too close. But Lunacies tells him that in the Mist Labyrinth it's not possible to see the other person, so it is dangerous if he wanders off. But Fildo says that he can estimate her location by determining the distance from her voice. It's just an excuse for her to get closer to him. But Lunacies insists that he should be careful, as there are some places where it's not possible to come back, as Fildo nearly avoids falling off and says he can see it. Fildo's eyes sparkle as they reach the edge of a cliff, from where they can see the country of the elves. The look of the country amuses Fildo, as he starts to run toward it while leaving Lunacies behind, as she calls out to him. Fildo says it's amazing. He has never seen such a beautiful place, and thanks Lunacies for bringing him there, to which she gladly says it's no problem. Fildo says that he plans to do something to thank her, to which she replies that he should form a formal party with her, but Fildo replies that isn't possible. Then, she tells him to kiss her as a reward, but he again denies. And while holding onto his clothes, Lunacies leans closer to kiss him and says that there is no reason to decline. But Fildo shouts that he is having a nervous breakdown right now, as this is happening out of nowhere, and asks her to stop. Suddenly, two random elven kids run towards them, and say they knew it was Ms. Lunacies, to which she says it's been a while, and asks how they are. They ask her about the person next to her, and if he is her boyfriend, to which Lunacies replies they are not in that kind of relationship yet. Fildo clarifies that they are just acquaintances, and tells her he could tell that she knows them from before, to which Lunacies agrees, and tells him while untying her hair that he might have also noticed the years. She is an elf too. Fildo shockingly says that he knew it, and then they enter a building, while one of the kids is on top of Fildo's back. Fildo comments on the elves' long ears, and that both genders are ridiculously good looking. The kid on top of him asks Fildo what is wrong, to which he stays silent and says he realizes something about Lunacies. He assumes that Lunacies has leveled up a little, to which she excitedly asks how come he knows that. No wonder she feels much lighter, and mentions that it's rare to find someone who can analyze, and is also temporarily in a party with her. Fildo says the reason might be because the experience was amplified, to which she says she assumed that she couldn't get stronger, and thanks Fildo a lot, while someone from the back says that she is already strong enough. Lunacies denies it, and says she is not done yet, and as they move forward, Fildo notices someone in the crowd coughing, as a kid is lying down being sick. She asks why everything looks a little weird, to which the kid agrees and says that the magic power of the forest is drying. Hence, all the adults are worried and in a rush. She adds that even Illumina collapsed the other day, to which Lunacies gets shocked, and Fildo asks who this person is, and in response Lunacies says that's her sister. She is better at magic than herself, and is also very gentle. Lunacies apologizes as she wants to go see her sister. In response, Fildo politely asks where is she. Lunacies asks Fildo if he wants to go, to which he replies that he owes one to her for bringing him there, so he definitely will. Moreover, as he is an outsider, staying alone there is also not a good idea for him, which makes her surprised. The kids ask Fildo if he is sure that he is not her lover, to which Fildo frustratingly denies it, and they keep saying it's unfortunate. All of them then arrive at the entrance of a castle, as a random elf with a scarf on her face calls Lunacies princess, and is shocked to see that he has returned. She then notices Fildo and comments, "Why is there a human next to Lunacies?" To which she replies that it's her lover, and Fildo immediately corrects her by saying acquaintance, and Lunacies tells the elf to refrain from being disrespectful to Fildo. She apologizes to Fildo, and tells him he might see some unsettling things now. They then approach the elevated porch, as someone says that it has been a while, and inform the king that Lunacies' Arclight has just returned, which surprises Fildo. The king hears about it while writing something, and asks if it's true. After noticing Lunacies, he walks toward her to slap her hard, and yells why did she come back now. He says that as a princess, she has put all her responsibilities on her sister Illumina, and because of her she has fallen sick with a disease, to which Lunacies listens quietly while clenching her fist in anger. She apologizes for all the trouble she caused due to her selfishness, to which the king yells an apology won't change anything. Lunacies says that there is no future if they solely depend on the country's wisdom, as they are long past the point where they can do anything on their own. He must already know this. The king gets confused, and she asks in anger why hasn't he found a solution yet. In response, he asks her to be less arrogant, and asks what could she have done on her own, risking people's life and also bringing in someone from the outside. He asks her who is this man, and surely she didn't bring him for the king's consort, to which Lunacies replies that he is a very close friend of hers, as she puts an arm in front of Fildo. She asks the king to please stop making such statements about him, to which the king says fine while putting the marker down, and asks Fildo about his thoughts on their country, And in response, Fildo says at first he thought it was a beautiful and mysterious place. However, it seems like they don't have an excellent complexion, and ask the reason behind it, to which the king says it's because they are currently facing a severe depletion of magical power. He explains, as he can see that their country is surrounded by forest, and their magic has a very close relationship with it. The elves get their life force from that forest, and by gaining power from it, they conceive a child, who then grows up and returns the magic to the forest, and this is how their power is circulated. However, recently they have been greatly reduced in numbers by the people, who are after the elves, thus the magic power of the forest has begun to dry up. As the magic power of the forest reduces, the magic the elves are supposed to give back also decrease, and explains that elves may have a long lifespan, but their ability to reproduce is not strong, so they are struggling to increase the population. So currently who possess a higher magical power are maintaining the forest by offering their magical power, and this is the present situation of their country. Pointing a finger at Lunacies, he says initially that the role belongs to the first princess, but her responsibility has to be carried out by Illumina. He asks her once again why she left her country, to which other elves around are speechless. He then addresses Fildo as a human and thanks him for bringing Lunacies back there. Thus, he will let him stay for a few days in honor of her daughter. He then tells Lunacies to come, as she will now fulfill the responsibility that she has forced upon her younger sister. Fildo gets worried, and while she leaves, she thanks him for staying with her this far, as she was only trying to utilize his power. She knows he was badly wronged by his former guild members, yet she couldn't resist taking the chance when she heard he was searching for the country of elves. She says it's awful, and in the end, all she did was cause trouble to those around her. She wishes she could have properly shown him the wonderful things about her country. But suddenly, Fildo grabs her hand from behind and tells her that she doesn't have to sacrifice herself. He announces that with his power, he will save this country, which astonishes everyone. Fildo speaks about his ability by saying that he can amplify the experience gained by the members of his party. Moreover, he can amplify the experience and distribute it as he wishes, as the main problem of this country is not having adequate magical power to sustain, so he will use his ability to forcibly raise the levels of the elves. If he increases the individual magical power, he asks will the vitality of the forest be restored, to which the king is in shock and says unbelievable. Fildo says he can't only amplify the experience, but also distribute it to individuals at his discretion as well. It's fine if the king doesn't believe him, nonetheless, it will give him a chance to save this country. And then, he enthusiastically requests the king to let him use his ability, so he can save this country. Afterwards, Lunacies is walking in the hallway toward Illumina's bedroom, and sees her sick and asleep on the bed. She gets upset watching her like that, but then notices Fildo watching her from behind. While both of them are leaning on the railing, Fildo asks if she is sure about his stay in this castle, to which she says of course, and asks if anything is bothering him. He tells her about a tall woman, who was staring at him while he was going around, to which Lunacies says that it must be her mother. Fildo embarrassedly thinks that it's really hard to tell an elf's age just by looking at them, while Lunacies adds that it has been a long time since anyone from her country has seen a human being, and then apologizes to Fildo again for the inconvenience this might have caused, and tells him that she left the country to find a solution outside of the knowledge of the elves. But she kept searching and searching, and then slowly became tired. This is the reason his ability has been very attractive to her, so she tried to make a plan to connect with him by creating an existing relationship, to which Fildo says so that was the reason. She hesitates and replies that it was stupid of her, and asks even knowing all this, why is he still helping this country? Fildo replies there's no particular reason, but if he had to give one, it would be to thank her for bringing him to this country, to which she asks if that's the reason, and he agrees. He explains that losing such a beautiful country would be wrong, and he understands the importance of family and home, especially for those who have been together for a long time. Also, party members should always help in times of trouble, which leaves Lunacies in shock. She responds that this is why they use him, because he talks like that, to which Fildo gets mad and tells her to shut up, as he said something nice. Meanwhile, the king arrives and calls him human, asking him to come alone for a talk, and they walk through a long, empty hallway. Fildo asks why they are going so deep into the castle, and the king, while looking at his sword, says that it's reaching its limits. Fildo thinks it happens when he slay dragons and werewolves with a sword like this, but he wonders why the king is concerned now. As they reach a big door, the king asks him to stop. The king turns the lock on the door, which opens with a sound. He then asks Fildo what the matter is, he should come quickly, to which Fildo gets nervous. The king explains that this is the treasury, storing magic tools that have undergone magical modification. And due to the current situation, no one can handle these hidden treasures anymore. If Fildo's ability is true, he needs to target monsters with a reasonable amount of experience for amplification. Fildo says Lunacies told him that there are bigger monsters in the northern plains, and they can distribute the experience gained from defeating them. The king understands but says they need more party members and a sword for their proposal, as he reveals the sword to Fildo's surprise. The king adds that these hidden treasures are handed down in their country, as he takes out the sword while saying that it's the holy sword Excalibur, and he may take it. He will also entrust Fildo with 100 men, which should be enough for a head count, while Fildo nervously says that he can't accept such a grand thing. But the king reminds him that no one else can handle this. They have been researching for a long time, but haven't found a solution. Unfortunately, it has come to this. He feels powerless as a king, and then requests Fildo to take the sword and save their country, to which Fildo respectfully accepts it. Afterwards, Fildo and the other elves gets ready to go out, while Lunacies arrives and tells him to let's go. The captain Agate introduces himself and says that he has been informed by His Majesty. Fildo replies that he is just an outsider, a human being, so he is not asking for trust him. But before he finishes, the captain bursts out laughing. He asks Fildo not to be nervous, as they will follow him as per the king's order. Fildo asks if he doesn't hate following someone so young, to which the captain replies that as a grown-up elf, every race is like a child to them. And besides, right now it's not age or race that matters, it's only the result, which makes Fildo nervous. Lunacies tells him that he is the leader of the squad, and asks him to say something brief so they can start the operation. Fildo says it might be a big deal to have an outsider as a leader, but he has witnessed amazing sights of this country and its people. Even though they have only known each other on the surface level, he wants to protect the country of the elves and means it. With their help, he might be able to save this country, expecting a decent effort from the Order of the Knights. Agate announces that the future of their country depends on everyone's performance, as he sets out towards the northern plains. After some days, Lunacies climbs a tree to look for the direction, and then tells Fildo that they should take a short break, as the soldiers are severely fatigued, to which he agrees. While Fildo is drinking water, Agate tells him that he is amazing, as he didn't show any sign of tiredness despite all the walking over the past few days. In comparison, they are nothing, and hope they don't become a hindrance when the moment comes, to which Fildo says it's not a problem. Agate asks Lunacies if it's still a long way to the plains, to which she says that according to her estimation, they should have arrived by now. Agate says they should try to analyze, as the monsters are large and might be located from a distance, to which Fildo excitedly agrees. Fildo is confused as he checks the pointer, and Lunacies asks what is wrong. Fildo replies it's strange, as it's identifying the monster, but has been pointing here the whole time, and asks Lunacies to try to cut through the ground there, which shocks everyone. Lunacies asks if he is not going to do it, to which Fildo says that he has such a valuable sword, and thinks that it's not okay for a national treasure to slash the ground like this for its first time. He then asks Agate to do it, but he replies that his sword can't bear it, to which Lunacies gets frustrated, while Fildo pleads her to go on. As she takes out her sword, she says she understands and slashes the ground, but nothing is coming out of it. Fildo says that's weird, as he was hoping that the monster was lurking under the ground. But before he can finish saying that, they hear a loud roar which shakes everyone. Lunacies tells everyone to be ready, and advising them to run towards the lower ground, but Fildo scaredly says it's not in the ground, the whole mountain range is in fact the monster. While the monster comes out roaring, Fildo gets excited seeing the monster, and tells Lunacies that it looked like a dragon, but without wings. There is no doubt that it's a dinosaur species, the Rex. Lunacies says she heard of big monsters, but never one like this, while Fildo asks Agate about the status of the soldiers. Agate replies that they were panicking, but somehow he managed to prevent them from dispersing. Fildo says he knows that it's ridiculous to go up against such a monster, as this is not something that can be done with just numbers of people. So he asks what should be done. It seems like the monster hasn't noticed them yet. Fildo announces that they need to get the monster's attention before it starts to move, and tells the captain to keep his troops from dispersing, and orders Lunacies to continue attacking, to which she agrees with a determined look. Lunacies goes and uses her sword to attack the monster, to which it stops moving. But suddenly, it roars so loudly that they close their ears, and Lunacies asks what the hell is this, to which Fildo says that it's too big and slow to feel any pain, it takes time to get through. Afterwards, the monster looks away, to which Fildo says that maybe it hasn't noticed them yet. But immediately, he realizes something after hearing a sound, and tells Lunacies and the captain to rally the troops and gets behind him, as a sweep is incoming. While the sweep is crushing everything in its way, Fildo starts taking out the Excalibur, thinking that it's the treasure of this country, so there must be a good reason for that. He recalls the king's words, that this sword is meant to be wielded by those with power, but if it's Fildo, he might be able to bring out its full potential. The king told him to focus his mind on the blade, and it will do the rest, as he prepares to counter the attack using the sword. The impact causes a loud bang, but Fildo manages to slice off its tail, which shocked everyone. The monster roars in pain, while Fildo tells Lunacies that he will draw the monster's attention. However, he won't be able to cover everyone when they are spread out, so he tells her to look after the men. He then dashes towards the monster, thinking that this is the holy sword Excalibur's slash of light. If this drags on, the aftermath will be directed at the soldiers, so he decides to focus on the attack now. Then, as he slices a part of the monster, Fildo says this is the only way to attack. The part of the monster disintegrates from its body and falls on the ground, to which Agate surprisedly comments, "It's amazing that the huge body is taking more damage," and thinks that maybe they can do this. But soon realizes that it's not finished, as the monster is now angry. Fildo says it isn't possible to break the surface skin just by using light blades, he needs to come up with a different plan. Then, he jumps high in the air and slashes the monster, causing a little break on the body. He screams in frustration that attacking a bit at a time won't work. He needs to strike the most vulnerable area with maximum firepower. The monster takes him high up in the air and eats him, to which Lunacies worriedly screams Fildo's name, while Fildo tries to focus his mind on the blade. He shouts that if it's from the inside, then it might work. He cooks up a brand new move, using X skill Holy Breaker with all his strength. He causes a massive blow right in the middle of the monster, which surprises the other soldiers, who comments that he beat the beast, while Lunacies is left speechless. She then sees Fildo falling from above, as he is completely depleted. Fildo thinks that he can't move his body, not even his fingers. His stamina and magical power are totally drained, but if he dies now, it will be for nothing. Meanwhile, Lunacies screams his name as she runs to catch him, and manages to save him from hitting the ground. As he lies on her lap in poor condition, she asks him to please keep his senses, while Fildo asks if he killed it. She cryingly says, in that case, let her give him the potion by mouth, so he can see for himself whether he killed it or not. But Fildo replies it's okay. He can drink it by himself, while Agate and the soldiers watch from afar. Afterwards, everyone is happy as they celebrate the victory, and then go back to the castle with Fildo. Then, Fildo along with Lunacies and the king, goes to the courtyard of the castle, where all the elves were eagerly waiting for him. He then uses his ability, and share the experiences gained by killing the monster. The elves start to get better as everyone looks happy and celebrates, while Fildo and Lunacies look glad. Then suddenly, Lunacies hears something from behind and looks back. She gets surprised to see her sister Illumina, as she quickly ran and hugs her tightly. Lunacies cries out of joy, as the king goes and hugs them both. Fildo gets happy seeing that, and wonders when was the last time this country looked so bright. After some time, while standing in front of a railing, the king tells the queen Lunalia that even if he spends his whole life being grateful to Fildo, it won't be enough, and mentions that perhaps his senses have become too dull. He adds that Lunacies was correct all along, but the queen replies it's not true. The artifacts made by him have prolonged the lives of his people. Moreover, the people and Illumina were saved because he and Lunacies didn't give up. The king asks about the man of the hour, Mr. Fildo, and says he would very much like to talk to him about welcoming him to his family as his son-in-law for their daughter. Lunalia gets surprised and tells him that Fildo was just down there a few minutes ago. Meanwhile, Fildo is standing alone when Lunacies comes from behind and tells him that he forgot his mantle. Fildo thanks her and asks why she looks like someone ready for a trip, to which Lunacies replies it's because she can follow him, and asks how he is planning to get off the mist labyrinth by himself. She adds that the country is not completely saved yet, it's only miraculously recovered with his help, so there are a lot of things she needs to do before they can fully recover. She tells Fildo that the move he pulled was kind of dangerous. It was very risky, as it could have killed him if he had fallen directly on his head. She says that she needs him to live a long and healthy life, to which Fildo asks if it is because she needs his power, but Lunasis refuses and says it's because she just wants to be with him, even if it is only for a while. Fildo gets embarrassed hearing that, and annoyedly tells her to do whatever she wants, while Illumina comes from behind. Elsewhere, Claude and his gang are in a tunnel facing a bunch of dog-like monsters, while Claude complains about why this is all happening to them, as they were the strongest guild. In the past, a guild leader calls young Claude's name and asks him to come here for a second, while he is playing a card game. Claude comes and asks about the kid standing in front of the leader, to which he replies that he brought him from the orphanage they stopped the other day. He tells Claude to make sure he's well prepared, so he doesn't die doing chores, to which Claude angrily asks why it has to be him. Someone mocks Claude, saying he finally has a young brother, and another says it looks like he's babysitting. After that, Claude asks the young boy's name, to which he replies it's Fildo. Suddenly, Claude wakes up to find himself being carried on Bobson's shoulder, and understands that it was a dream. Bobson says that Mr. Claude is awake, while Claude stays silent and Dorothy asks Bobson to run, as it will be a big trouble if they are caught. Claude says that his arms hurt a lot, and his face is burning, to which Dorothy reminds him that he got bitten by a giant rat in the underground irrigation canal. She angrily shouts that they took on this quest because he said it was a low level, however, they almost died and retreated. His facial injuries are only his fault, as Claude got into a dispute with the client, and if the military police didn't show up, Claude would have lost his life. She tells him that he shouldn't have taken another adventurer's quest on his own, to which Claude replies she was in it too, and they failed to complete the request. They then arrive at their office, as someone mockingly asks where they found the dealers, and he is fine as long as he gets paid. Another guy make a toast to the light of glory as they climb the stairs, and Dorothy curses them by saying parasites. Dorothy says that these guys are going to stay until their money runs out, to which Carl replies that those who remain are all like that, and asks Claude to sit down, as she will start healing. Carl says the healing is not working at all, they are trying very hard against all the odds, to which Dorothy says, as expected, their powers have been taken away, they are just back to their original state. Carl says she somehow managed to stop the bleeding, and to heal more, they would require a visit to a healer at the clinic. Dorothy screams out in frustration, and says all this time, they have been trying to push their way through by force, so they don't remember to fight as adventurers anymore. The rat extermination should have been a simple job for a novice adventurer, and blamed it all on Bobson, as he got scared and screamed that the herd noticed, to which Bobson panics. He replies that up until now, everyone was strong and they had the strongest magical power with almost infinite recovery magic, so that's why they have been able to do well. He adds while holding a wooden stick, that now he can only handle this kind of equipment. Carl remembers that Bobson was never that strong-willed, while Dorothy says the guild's overdue, taxes and members' salaries are only going to increase with time, and eventually they will be disbanded by the authority to reduce further loans. Carl replies, she thought this guild would go on forever when things were going well, but it's sad to see it end in such a miserable way, to which Claude tells her that it's not over yet. He shouts that they can still start over, as a single mistake is nothing, they should do another quest, and this time they might be able to pull it off, to which other members are shocked, and Dorothy tells him to get a grip on reality. Claude gets sad, and asks what happened to their dream of being the top guild and becoming famous worldwide. But Dorothy replies that it's his dream, while Carl says it's not possible anymore, and Bobson says during that time, they were powerful because of Fildo and got overconfident, to which Carl agrees. She adds that currently the costs of managing the guild are not consistent with the competency level. All that remains are deadbeat money-grubbing adventurers, and there is no trace of the top guild left anymore. Dorothy says it's already a miracle that they made it this far in just 3 years, and asks Carl and Bobson what will they do if the guild disappears. Carl replies that she was thinking of opening a healing massage parlor. Even though she can't heal an injury, she will at least be able to help soothe a hip or back pain. And Bobson says that he will go back to his hometown because he's worried about his mother as she is alone and weak. He then asks Dorothy, to which she replies that she is done being a mage, as there is no demand for these ineffective spells, and as she only has her pretty face, she will probably hook up with some random rich person or an aristocrat. Claude angrily asks if she will dump him, to which she replies that it can't be helped, as two unemployed people dating each other is pointless. They both have bad personalities, so the chemistry wasn't that bad, which makes Claude speechless. She tells him that in the past it made sense, but now that he has lost everything, there is nothing attractive about him anymore, and he must be aware of it. In addition, he should be grateful for getting to keep his head, even after taking a man as hostage and lying in front of the king. It's because Fildo didn't testify. She can't tell if he is naive or not, but that's why they are still alive today, so they should just let it go. It's still possible to live a life without a dream. Afterwards, she bids her farewell to Claude and says it's been fun so far, to which Carl also bids farewell and thanks everyone for everything, and asks Bobson to come along. As they walk away, Bobson says he has been saving up some money so he doesn't have to work and can spend some time with his mother. Even though he sent letters, he still worries about her, to which Carl recalls that his mother is frail and tells Bobson to come to her store in town as she will give his mother a service, to which he happily thanks her. Bobson says when he is out of his savings, he will help out on his neighbor's farm and asks Claude if starting over can be that bad. Claude is not able to hold it anymore, so he lashes out and kills all three of them, which causes a loud bang. The other members come to check and are shocked to find that all the executives are dead and ask each other what in the world has happened here. At the same time, while practicing her swinging, Lunasis tells Fildo that if he stares like this, then he will burn a hole in her. There is still time before the shift change, to which he gets embarrassed. Fildo asks about the swinging practice, to which she replies that basic training is important, and asks if everything is okay. Fildo asks her thoughts about his sword, and she replies with excitement that the elf national treasure has its inherent abilities and is incredibly powerful. Moreover, the sharpness of the blade is unparalleled, and its delicate design is a masterpiece. But Fildo says that's not what he meant. He then clarifies that he means his swordsmanship skill, how it looks to the sword saint. To which she honestly replies that he is very powerful. However, in terms of swordsmanship, there is yet a lot to learn. If he had mastered the skill, then even his old sword wouldn't have worn out that much. Lunasis tells him that among other things, the Gigarex that he defeated the other day couldn't be done by anyone else except him, but if he wants to hit it with the Blade of Light, then there were more effective spots. She explains that if he is trying to reduce the mobility of the monster, then it is recommended to go for the base of the fin, to which he asks if shouldn't it have been eyes or something, but she tells him that while it may be effective, as without vision it's impossible to turn its attention back to him. However, if that huge body went on a rampage being confused, then it would have caused a lot of damage to the surrounding area, to which Fildo understands and agrees. Suddenly, he asks Lunasis for a favor and requests her to teach him to fight with a sword. But she replies that he is already stronger than her, and in response Fildo says it's because of his abilities, but he doesn't have enough experience as an adventurer. He says that he has been the same he used to be, when he used to survive only by his ability, but now he wants to become a stronger adventurer, and he wants to develop strength other than his ability. Meanwhile, in another scene, the part where Claude killed everyone, Claude quickly comes close to Bobson and stabs him with the dagger. Bobson confusedly asks why it suddenly hurts and utters mama as he dies. Carl gets frightened seeing this and asks who is it, while Claude grabs her by the neck and kills her. Dorothy is devastated and tells him that there is no going back, but in response, Claude tells her to shut up and kills her. Then while evilly laughing, he screams that it's all Fildo's fault and leaves the place through the back alley. The author narrates that this is the story of Fildo and his group after their return to the country of the elves. The king tells everyone that they have persevered after all the suffering. There will be a national celebration at a later date, and that day will be a national holiday for the elves. It will be passed down to the coming generations. The king then tells Fildo that he must be tired after his long expedition, and mentions that there are hot springs in their royal palace, so he should go for a nice soak and have a good night's rest. Fildo relaxes in the hot spring and says that when he saw the city first, he thought it was just splashes of water, but now he understands that it was steam. It's going to be hard for his clothes to dry due to humidity, to which Illumina says that they dry it on a bedrock heated by geothermal, and that's the reason their clothes are very thin, to which Fildo understands. While pouring water into the cup, she says that there is some water collected from the trees in the forest. It's cold and slightly sweet, to which Fildo thanks her for the drink. He says that it will be nice to seep some cold water in his feverish body. But suddenly, Fildo freaks out as Illumina tries to wash his back, to which she says since he's there, she thought it would be a good idea to wash his back, and asks if she is a nuisance for this. Fildo replies that it's not about being a nuisance, but why his back, to which she replies that he helped save the elves, and also her life, so that's why she wanted to show her gratitude to him, to which he frustratingly asks then why is she without clothes. She replies by asking, if aren't they supposed to be like this in a hot spring, to which Fildo nervously agrees. Then she asks if it's because her body is unattractive, and she has been sick, moreover, she doesn't have a great body like her sister. But in response he says it's nothing like that, he appreciates the gesture, but he is just surprised by it. Meanwhile, Lunacies comes and gets shocked seeing Illumina with Fildo, and asks why is she there, to which Illumina replies that she will now wash Fildo's back, but Fildo refuses, and wonders why Lunacies came as well. Lunacies tells Fildo that she will wash his back, but Illumina says it's not fair as she came late, but Lunacies shouts it's because she ran out on her. Afterwards, Lunacies asks Enjoy if it feels good, to which Fildo agrees and thanks her. He says it feels weird to have his back washed by someone else, to which she asks if he has never done that before. Fildo tells her that he grew up in a house with a bunch of little kids, and they used to try to copy him, so it's nostalgic. Lunacies also relates, saying that she used to wash her father's back, it's like they have become a family. But then suddenly realizes that it might make Fildo uncomfortable, so she explains that she doesn't mean it like that, but if he is okay with it, she would be more than happy to do it. But to the sisters' surprise, Fildo has fallen asleep, to which they both laughs. Then the next day, a servant elf comes into Fildo's bedroom while holding clothes, and requests the savior of their country to wear them. Fildo asks if can't he just wear his clothes, but the servant asks the other elves to help him get dressed, which shocked Fildo. Afterwards, as Fildo is eating a cookie, he says he hates being alone in unfamiliar clothes, and he's also conscious of the way people look at him. Suddenly, Illumina comes and tells him that the outfit looks good on him. Fildo gets embarrassed, while she tells him that it's not flattery, but the truth, and Fildo says that she is looking healthier, to which she agrees, and says her body is filled with magic and now she is full of energy. Previously, she never thought she would be able to move like this again. All the credit goes to Fildo and her sister. To which Fildo wonders where is Lunacies. In response, Illumina says she was with her just a moment ago. Then, the king asks Fildo if he had a good time, and tells him to spend his time as he wishes, as the feast is still going on. He says that the forests are now supplied with enough magic power that will sustain them for at least 5 generations, so he would like to thank Fildo from the bottom of his heart for saving them from such a disaster. The king tells him that he has something for him as a reward, even though it might be inadequate, to which Fildo thinks how much 5 generations of elves would be, and says that it's fine, as the sword he has received is already beyond his expectations, but the king says that's nothing. Then, he extends his arm while holding a brooch with a chain, to which Fildo asks if this is any kind of artifact, and Illumina gets shocked. The king explains that this brooch is a symbol of the succession of the throne from the present king to the next, and it has been passed down from generation to generation. As he is the savior of this country, his feats will be passed down for many years to come, to which Fildo gets startled. He attaches the brooch to Fildo's scarf and says that maybe this will guide them as a light in the future. They will work together to build this country. Suddenly, Lunacies comes and grabs his arm while telling him to go dancing together, as it won't be exciting if the star of the show is not dancing, to which he gets relieved seeing her. He tells her that he can't dance, but in response she says to just move his feet to match hers, and he will be alright. While dancing, Fildo asks her where she has been all this time, and says he doesn't know if is it because he's human, but he's always watched, so it makes him nervous. But suddenly, Lunacies grabs him and whispers something in his ears, which startles Fildo. Afterwards, the king asks Lunacies about the whereabouts of Fildo, to which she replies that he has been exhausted by too much attention from everyone, so he went to rest for a bit. She then asks him to stop making such a bad joke, but her father replies it wasn't a joke. The only thing that is left for them is to swear an oath, so he could announce their relationship to everyone, to which Lunacies gets mad. The king adds he knows that she approached Fildo with the same intention in the beginning, to which Lunacies agrees, but says that Mr. Fildo's power must be wielded by his own will. She won't let him interfere with Fildo's freedom, and that's the only way she can repay him for his help, to which the king understands and backs off. He says, according to his judgment, Fildo is quite amiable, and if she is getting dismayed by this level of pushback, then she will have a hard time in the future. He then wishes Lunacies all the best, and says it doesn't matter what it takes, whether a favor or a relationship, he will always be welcomed in this country. Afterwards, Lunacies tells Fildo that as expected, she always has a hard time getting along with her father. In another scene, a group of knights is walking down the street, while someone says a triumphant return of the Order of the Knights, to which someone frustratingly adds that he can't walk properly due to the crowd came to watch the knights. Fildo is walking slowly as he is surprised by the knights, and asks if being a knight commander is that great, to which Claude replies that it's obvious, because a commander is the top soldier in a country's army, so Fildo says that's why his level is so high. The young Claude gets shocked hearing that, and asks Fildo if he can see others' level. After some time, a man named compliments Fildo for learning Analyze, and explains that it's not a skill directly related to strength, but it's a skill that big guilds would surely want. He asks Fildo about the level of the commander, to which he says about 68, and when he asks about himself, Fildo says 5. Claude starts laughing, as he hasn't even reached double digits, and when the man asks about Claude, the young Fildo says 6, and they both start fighting. Seeing them fighting, Fildo nervously says that he can share his level with both of them, so they can be stronger. He can transfer it if he traces his finger like that. To which the both men get surprised, and comments that might be an effect of learning to analyze, or says it's a great ability to be able to transfer his experiences to someone else. He can't believe that their experiences are continuously going up, simply because Fildo is there, to which Claude says it can't be possible. Or excitedly says that Fildo is going to be an amazing adventurer, and will be passing them in the blink of an eye, to which Claude says that they are the ones who found his powers, so they should make use of it. He adds that if they had Fildo, they wouldn't have to be members of this stupid guild, and his dream of creating the best guild in the country could come true. But denies, and says he empathizes with his dreams and supports it. However, it's up to Fildo how he wants to live with that power. While standing on the edge of a cliff, says it's not their place to tell him what to do. He is worried that Fildo might be abused due to his non-standard abilities. Moreover, Fildo is still young, so they will protect him until he understands his power. But suddenly, Claude pushes him off the cliff and ended up killing his best friend. Afterwards, he acts as if fell by accident, to which other guild members get shocked. Claude apologizes while saying that they were surrounded by demons and he fell down the cliff, to which Bobson freaks out, but Claude asks him to calm down and tell them to wait until morning, and then return to the guild. Fildo is crying by fall, when Claude comes and asks him to not tell anyone about his abilities, because was worried about him until the very end, so he shouldn't worry. Claude then puts his hands on young Fildo's shoulders, and tells him that he will make good use of his ability, and they are going to be the strongest guild in the world. Suddenly, Fildo wakes up from his daydream, as he is getting called by Lunacies. She asks if everything is okay, as he seems a little lost in thought earlier, to which Fildo says it's nothing and stays silent. After a moment, he says that he was just spaced out a little, then Illumina asks Lunacies while pointing towards a castle, if that's their destination. While going towards the castle, Lunacies warns her that she will fall again if she runs fast. But she doesn't listen and says that she isn't a child anymore. The author narrates that experience distribution ability is an ability that distributes one's own experience to party or guild members. Moreover, when there is a person with an ability in the party, it has the effects of amplifying the experience gained by that member. When the Light of Glory became the top guild, it banished Fildo Electria, so he decided to live a free solo life, and he goes to the land of the elves with the sword Saint Lunacies and her sister Illumina. Illumina is holding a jar-like aquarium, to which Lunacies tells her not to touch them carelessly, as they are for sale. As it's Illumina's first time in a human country, she is curious, while Lunacies holds her mouth so that no one gets to know, and then takes her to check more accessories. Fildo is worried seeing that, while Mr. Gonzalez is glad that Illumina is enjoying herself. Mr. Gonzalez tells Fildo he never thought that he would party with Lunacies, and can tell that Fildo is not an ordinary man, to which Fildo replies it's not like that, and the party he is currently in is kind of a temporary contract. In response, Mr. Gonzalez says it's great, as the best part is to be able to share sights with his companions. Moreover, it's evident that good friends and good journeys can help a person grow. He says Fildo looks much more like an adventurer now compared to before, to which Fildo replies that he only met Lunacies a few months ago. He is just doing what he has always wanted to do, to which Gonzalez tells him that time doesn't matter, it's the experience that does. He tells Fildo that he has been wondering about the sword on his back and asks if he can have a look at it, to which Fildo agrees. As Mr. Gonzalez examines the sword carefully, he says it's wonderful and asks how he got such a work of art, to which Fildo replies that he has received it for various reasons. Gonzalez says that the details are amazing, and it is probably enchanted, only that dwarves often design this kind of equipment, which gets Fildo's attention. He narrates that the dwarves were all blacksmiths by nature, and the armor they hammer is usually enchanted like this. It is said that dwarves made many legendary arms. Mr. Gonzalez then clarifies that if this armor has the same form as the dwarf-made armor, the price would still vary by more than one figure, to which Fildo gets surprised, and Lunacies asks if he is interested in dwarf country. In response, he says of course he is, but why did she suddenly speak from behind, to which Lunacies happily grins. She tells him that they have a close relationship with the dwarf country as they are old acquaintances of her father, and she and her sister have met them as well. Fildo says that dwarf country is not in hiding, so it's not a big deal, but Lunacies replies that the dwarf country has workshops, where the best of the craftsmen's skills are gathered, so it's strict to enter. Moreover, as a human and a first-time visitor, Fildo wouldn't be granted access. However, if both of the sisters request in person, then they might as well allow him, to which Fildo gets shocked, and Lunacies asks if he would like to enter the dwarf country. She assumes that he would, and they start leaving the store after saying farewell to Mr. Gonzalez. Lunacies starts moving with her sister, while Illumina says that they were supposed to be back at the inn before sundown, and asks if Fildo isn't coming. Fildo replies that as none of them are together, they should roam around the city. It's a perfect opportunity to learn about the life in the human country. Lunacies warns Illumina to not let go of her hands, as there are many people there, to which Illumina gets annoyed, because she is treating her like a child again. Illumina says that even Lunacies knows about her magic, and as an adventurer, she can protect herself, to which Lunacies narrates that shooting magic is not necessarily strength, and says she just wants to hold Illumina's hands. She says that whenever she is with Fildo, she feels a bit flustered, while Illumina agrees to her sister's requests and says it can't be helped. Elsewhere, Fildo, while walking on the street, says he may go check out some more stores. But suddenly, a crying female child comes close to him from behind and grabs his clothes. The child asks if he knows where can she find the flower shop, and comments that she can tell he is an adventurer since he's carrying a cool sword. As they go down the street while holding hands, the kid asks him if he has ever killed a big monster or something, to which Fildo replies a big one like a mountain, which impresses the kid. She tells him that her mother used to say that adventurers sometimes try to brag and exaggerate things, which is a problem. Her mother works as a receptionist at the guild, to which Fildo recognizes and recalls her welcoming behavior. The child says that it's her birthday, and that's why she wanted to go to the flower shop by herself, but now she worries that her mother might be mad at her. But Fildo consoles her by saying that she might be worried, but she will understand and will be happy for her gift. He tells her that if Mama is going to be mad at her, then she might as well be mad at him, so she shouldn't worry. Meanwhile, people around the street are staring at a man. After buying the flowers, Fildo says that he will just call the military police now, and wonders if there is a station nearby, when that man collides with him. But as soon as Fildo looks at him, he gets shocked to see that it's Claude. Claude grins evilly and says that it's been a while. He has grown into a fine-looking man. Moreover, he hears that Fildo is partying with the Sword Saint. He continues that he must be having fun abandoning them and spending time with a hottie, to which Fildo angrily replies that he's talking nonsense, as Claude is the one who kicked him out. Claude says that he has been through a lot since then, as his guild has been disbanded by the king, to which Fildo gets speechless and asks what happened to Dorothy and the others. In response, Claude says that they are gone, so Fildo asks if they left and went on their separate ways because the guild was disbanded, and thinks that they were also a bunch of jerks, so he doesn't need to be involved with them anymore. Fildo then asks Claude if he is not here for him, and suddenly notices a knife thrown at him, which he manages to catch right before his eyes. Claude, while attacking Fildo with a knife, says it's revenge, as a point gifter who manipulates others doesn't deserve to be so happy, and because of him, he lost everything. Fildo dodges the stab, and then pushes him far to the ground while saying it's enough. Claude coughs and tells Fildo that his look on the face shows that he thinks Claude is not worth killing, to which Fildo asks the reason for his actions, and Claude reminds him that he can't forgive him for anything. Claude tells him that it's a way to vent frustration, as he just wants to see Fildo in pain, and doesn't care about anything else, while Fildo notices that he doesn't have his knife anymore. Fildo then quickly looks back as the kid asks if he is okay and notices a knife coming at the kid. He hugs the kid to save her, but gets stabbed by the knife in the process. Then, he notices Claude escaping through the alley, and says he escaped without a second thought, while someone else tells Fildo to not chase him, and call the military police. Fildo angrily calls for Claude, but immediately feels his head drooling and falls on the ground. He can't understand what's going on. While someone asks if he is okay, he's a little shaky, to which the others says they will help him out, but Fildo refuses. Fildo says that he has to chase him, but a man tells him to wait since he's injured. Fildo realizes that he is bleeding and starts to cough as blood comes out of his mouth, to which the fat man tells him to be careful and get a hold of himself. While lying on the ground, Fildo says it's hard to breathe, and he feels so cold that he's shivering, and he also can't stop sweating. As he's coughing in pain, people around him shouts to quickly bring a doctor. Then, a knight tells two guys to go after the man who ran away, and goes towards Fildo. The kid cryingly tells Fildo to stay strong, while the man comes and tells the kid not to worry as he's still breathing. The knight then takes Fildo on his knees and asks if he can hear him, to which Fildo agrees. He says if it's poison, there's still a chance to save his life, then asks Fildo to hold a ring close to his chest and never let it go. After a while, Fildo starts to open his eyes, to which the man says that he should be alright with this. Then after some days, Fildo watches Claude escape from his nightmare as he shouts at him to wait. After Fildo wakes up in the knight's house, he notices this and asks Fildo if he is awake, and apologizes for changing his clothes without permission last night. Fildo asks who is he, to which the knight apologizes as he has yet to introduce himself, then says that they have met a few times, but Fildo might not remember. He then introduces himself as the leader of the guild Silver Blade. His name is Leonardo Leonard. This is the first time they are talking. Fildo gets surprised to see that Leonard knows his name, and asks what is this place, to which Leonard replies that it's their guild's restroom. They were using it to compete with Light of Glory, and it's natural that he gets to know about any information about his rival guilds, then offers water to Fildo as he might be thirsty. Fildo shows gratitude and quickly drinks it, while Leonard says that it's understandable, as he has been sleeping for 3 whole days, to which Fildo gets shocked and starts coughing. Leonard says that even though he neutralized the poison, it had a significant toll on his body, and his comrades are also worried. Fildo is concerned about the little girl, and asks about her well-being, because when he got poisoned, there is a chance that she might be accidentally poisoned as well. Leonard starts laughing after hearing that his first worry is the kid, and mentions she is fine, to which Fildo is relieved and asks why is he there. Fildo says that he appreciates him for saving his life, but there is no reason to take care of him, to which another member says he will now check his condition. While checking, they tell him that the poison he received is from the red serpent gland of the Madara snail. It's a concoction made from various ingredients including poisonous mushrooms. Firstly, it disrupts the sense of balance, then the respiratory system, then goes to the internal organs, but one needs a government permit to use it, since they are usually used to take down big monsters. Any normal person would be dead by the time they were grazed, but since Fildo's physical endurance is far greater compared to a normal person, they could detox before he died. After that, Leonard tells Fildo that he's very interested in his powers, which startles him. Fildo wonders how he knows about his powers, to which Leonard replies as he mentioned before. That information naturally reaches to him, but he might not be aware of the exact details of his powers. But he assumes that it's Fildo's powers which helped Light of Glory reach the top guild within a few years, and asks about the reason why Claude abandoned him. Because if it was him, he would never let him go. Leonard asks if he heard anything about Claude lately, to which he denies, as he didn't have time to stop by the town in a few months. Leonard informs him that Claude is on the wanted list, because of the recent incident of killing his 3 former guild executives, to which Fildo gets shocked. Leonard adds that according to the speculation, there was some dispute about the dissolution of the guild. Then he managed to enter the royal capital before the wanted posters circulated. He had Claude tracked down after Fildo was attacked, but he managed to escape. Currently, Claude is dangerous due to his irrational behavior, and also because he has nothing to lose. He's showing an abnormal obsession with Fildo. Leonard says that he will likely make contact again, so he suggests that Fildo join his guild, the Silver Blade. Fildo gets shocked hearing that, while Leonard explains that if Claude's goal is to take revenge against him, then it would be a good measure to be part of some kind of organization. and as their guild is well known, he can vouch that there is no place better than to take refuge there. Even though it's just a facade, his abilities have been able to make a guild rise to prominence within only a few years, so he would love to have it as well. He then asks Fildo about his opinion, to which Fildo hesitates. Then, he tells Fildo that he can get him money and a position, also their welfare benefits and bonuses are plenty, to which Fildo complains about the intense pressure. Leonard asks Fildo to just try it out a little as a trial. But Fildo says that the water in his cup is spilling as Leonard is shaking his shoulders, while a member tells Leonard that it's not appropriate to be this aggressive towards someone who woke up. In another scene, Lunacies angrily asks if Fildo woke up, to which someone replies that he's currently talking to their guild leader. As she rushes in through the door, she asks Fildo if he is okay, then sees Leonard trying to do something to Fildo. Illumina tells Lunacies that she's moving too fast, while Lunacies is worried and asks what's going on there, as she prepares to take out her sword. She gets furious and attacks Leonard while calling him a despicable scoundrel, to which Leonard says it's not like that, and dodges the attack while saying that she has a strong bloodlust. Lunacies attacks again, to which Leonard counters and holds his weapon close to her throat. Then he tells her to calm down, as she should not be rampaging indoors, seeing which Illumina gets scared. Then, a masked man while stopping Illumina asks her to stop, while Leonard says that's so harsh out of nowhere. He is just inviting Fildo to join the guild. Lunacies shouts that it's no different from taking advantage of someone who is mentally and physically weakened. It's still wrong, to which Leonard laughingly replies indeed, but it applies to her as well. Leonard reminds her about the past, when she was quite enthusiastic toward Fildo. In addition, she joined Claude and others, and also went to the royal capital to search for Fildo. Leonard accuses Lunacies of never having a deep connection with anyone, also never showing a single laugh. From the start, she intends to get close to Fildo because of his abilities, to which she gets speechless. She starts to scrape the floor with her sword in anger, while Leonard tells her not to say that she didn't mean anything like that. He continues that Lunacies is also one of the best adventurers out there, so she probably heard rumors of him in the highest ranking guild, and became interested in him. He mentions that she doesn't pay attention to a mere adventurer, and currently, he is just scouting out a purely free adventurer. There's nothing wrong with making a deal with a business partner, then asks about Lunacies. He asks if the objective was achieved, and if she used his good nature for that. Also, the light of glory has been using him, so he wonders the difference between her and them. But just then, Fildo grabs his arm from behind, and tells him to apologize to her, to which Leonard asks why. Leonard tells him that he's the one being used, and asks if it's love, then it would make sense to him. Fildo gets angry hearing that, and tells him to shut up, as Lunacies is strong, and he's saying whatever he wants without knowing what's going on. Fildo says that he has no idea what she went through when she needed his help, and not to compare her with someone like Claude, which startles Lunacies. Leonard quickly tries to neutralize the situation by telling Fildo to not be so serious, and that he can apologize if he wants. However, as a guild leader he simply can't just do it, and laughs as this statement is cringy, to which Fildo gets furious, and shouts he can't just gloss over this for some nonsense reason, while Lunacies asks Fildo to hold on. She tells Fildo to calm down, but Fildo says he won't stay silent when someone just says whatever they want. Leonard asks if the Sword Saint is well regarded, and if Fildo manages to beat him in a challenge, then he will retract his remarks and sincerely apologize to her. However, if Leonard wins, then Fildo belongs to the Silver Blade. It's a good workout for a drowsy body. Moreover, as this does not equate to a reward, he will give Fildo enough credits so he can stay out of trouble for a while, to which Fildo agrees. Lunacies worriedly calls Fildo, while Fildo confirms that he just has to win, and also they don't want anything except his apology. Fildo tells him that he appreciates the help, but still, he won't let him get away with it. Later, as they stand facing each other, Leonard asks Fildo if he has rested well, to which Fildo replies that he has. Leonard says he's glad he gets to do this with him, but he feels inadequate without his team members, while Fildo tells him to stop acting. Both of them are using a wooden sword, as Leonard tells him that he is impatient, so they should get started. Leonard says that the training hall has been cleared of people, since they should avoid drawing attention, to which Fildo shows gratitude for his concern. Fildo recalls the moment when Lunacies asked him to not go easy on Leonard. In fact, he should go in there with the intention of killing him, which shocked Fildo. Lunacies asks if he saw Leonard's level, and tells him she is certain that he is strong, since she faced him a while ago. He is strong and undoubtedly, he is top class in this country, so regardless of his level, Fildo should never let his guard down. Back at present, Leonard asks Illumina to give a signal with magic, while Fildo can see that his level is 96. Illumina launches a flare bomb, and the battle starts. As soon as the fight starts, Fildo quickly attacks Leonard, but he manages to block the strike. Leonard moves away, but Fildo runs towards him and strikes again, to which Leonard blocks it and says that's not a bad move. He grins while saying that this is more than his expectation, and realizes that his sword is broken. Holding his broken sword, a level 120 Fildo asks what Leonard plans to do next, and if he needs a warm-up. Leonard replies negatively, as his subordinate will scold him if he breaks any more of his precious equipment. To see Fildo's full strength, something more is necessary. He then throws Fildo his sword and asks if this is all the equipment he has. So, when he is ready he can just take a stance, and from there on, they will both go all out. Fildo asks how they will determine the winner, to which Leonard says that it's going to be a single strike. If Fildo can land a single strike on his body, then he can consider it his victory. Fildo asks if he is sure about it, to which Leonard says he seems very confident. Fildo thinks that based on the exchange they had, it seems that he has the advantage in both strength and agility, and Leonard also realizes it, so what's the reason behind his calmness? Suddenly, Leonard asks Fildo if he has ever killed anyone before, to which Fildo gets startled, and asks why this question all of a sudden. He says that he hasn't, and in response Leonard says those situations often arise when he escorts a merchant. Fildo replies that he only accompanied for monster subjugation. That's all, to which Leonard asks really while gathering light in his hand. He makes a gesture with his hand, and says then it would be good to keep that in mind. Leonard starts to create a whirlwind around him, which makes it hard to see him anymore. Leonard prepares to attack Fildo as he says Durandal speed buff, and immediately vanishes, to which Fildo shockedly says he's gone. Leonard strikes him with full power, and sends Fildo flying to the ground, and says that the opponents that adventurers have a hard time dealing with are often highly intelligent. Fildo is in shock, while Leonard comes at him to attack again, and says for example, goblins and werewolves might be cunning and attack in groups, but the ones most knowledgeable about them are fellow humans. Fortunately, it's one-on-one now, and it's a lot easier than dealing with a bunch of bandits, to which Fildo gets speechless. Leonard, then with his sword Durandal uses a move power buff on Fildo, which he manages to block in the nick of a time. Fildo jumps backward, and thinks that the attack came out of nowhere, as if he disappeared from his sight in an instant. Fildo thinks that he should stay calm, while Leonard says he must be thinking that there's got to be some kind of trick to it, and asks if he's right. Leonard explains that his holy sword has the ability to grant powerful physical enhancements to the wielder, and there are more like this, but this is the best one. Fildo asks if it's okay that he's telling him such kind of information, to which Leonard says of course, it's not a problem. He then quickly comes near Fildo, and attacks him with his sword while saying that even if one knows about it, it can't be avoided. But Fildo blocks it and thinks that the strike is unusual since it's heavy and gets frustrated. Fildo says since there are no openings, he can't find an opportunity to counterattack, so he needs to pull out, but realizes it's too late. Leonard pushes Fildo as he is unable to hold the block, and falls back. Leonard tells him that his feet are out of place, while Fildo frustratingly says that this guy is hard to deal with. Illumina worriedly calls out to Fildo, while Lunasis is also watching. Then, Leonard moves fast and almost hits Illumina, but Lunasis grabs her out as she is in the way of Leonard. Leonard apologizes as he got a little carried away, to which Lunasis tells Illumina to move up, as they are in the way. Lunasis uses air wind to move from there, while Illumina wonders why is Fildo struggling so much. She replies that if she were to fight Leonard using purely swordsmanship, then she might be able to defeat him, but when it comes to practical application, the situation changes. Leonard concentrates his enhancements on a single point, thus allowing him to momentarily surpass even Fildo's physical abilities. Moreover, his combat style is close quarters specialist. His strength lies in the high level of adaptability, someone who can't be read just based on instincts or learned behavior, unlike beasts or demons. So Leonard is a formidable opponent for Fildo, to which Illumina gets shocked and asks if Fildo is going to win, to which Lunasis stays silent. In another scene in the past, the king orders the guild master of the Silver Blade to take the case of Fildo Electria in his hands. So Leonard accepts, and after Leonard saved Fildo from Claude's poison, Fildo is sleeping in his place while Leonard is standing beside him, and then a masked member of the guild calls him. The masked man asks Leonard about his plan with the Sword Saint and her sister since they are very insistent, but he tells them to not move Fildo as he is on complete bed rest, so they decide to go to a nearby inn. To which Leonardo agrees and says things have become quite a hassle lately. Even the king is worried about the issue of Fildo, to which the member replies that the king told him to decide what to do. Then the masked member named Marie suggests that they surround Fildo with the silver blade and deal with him, hence removing the source of the anxiety, but Leonard gets out of the room and closes the door. The man with the headband says the reason is Claude's inability with guild management, and also others say anything against it. He couldn't believe his ears when he heard that they are kicking out Fildo, to which Leonard says expelling Fildo is unusual. Also, there is no withdrawal in place. The headband man says in frustration that he doesn't get their reasoning, while Marie says they might have kicked Fildo out on the spur, and Fildo didn't get the procedure in time. Leonardo replies that Claude can do such a thing, and screams as he thinks of an idea. Someone asks him the reason behind his scream, as people are sleeping, to which he replies that he just had a really bad idea. They seem to freak out as they listen, while someone says they can do something like this, but is it worth the mess? To which Leonardo says that it's bad enough that he came up with such an idea. Meanwhile, the masked man whispers to Marie that the boss is usually a nice person, and Marie says that Fildo and him are similar. Leonard comments, aside from the circumstances, if he can, he would love to keep someone like Fildo around. Marie replies it doesn't matter whether he agrees, and the masked man says that to begin with, it won't be wise to let someone in the group without knowing much about their abilities, as only a few people know about Fildo's ability. Leonard replies in that case, they can do a little practice match, and someone asks if Fildo will agree to it, to which Leonard replies that he will just nudge Fildo a little to get him in the mood. Even if he's weak, it's still fine as long as he sincerely agrees, but if he's strong and declines, then it would be detrimental for the country and them. He says that if Fildo becomes a threat, then they will have to deal with him. It would be nice if they could fight and win, as it's uncommon for them to find monsters higher than their level. Leonard asks Marie about Fildo, to which he honestly says that it's frightening while opening his mask, and reveals his scarred face. He says with this level of ability and the potential for growth in the future, Fildo is a monster. Back at the present, Fildo and Leonardo have locked their swords as they are battling, and are trying hard to push one another. However, Leonard manages to exert more pressure, and pushes Fildo far to the ground, and wonders if he hits too hard, then asks Fildo if he's okay. Fildo frustratedly replies he is okay, while getting out of the bush, to which Leonard tells him that he is really strong. Fildo replies as if he is using sarcasm. He was just blown away, to which Leonard thinks that he is saying it from the bottom of his heart. He was expecting to break a few ribs, and thinks more importantly, he says that Fildo's eyes are keeping up with his movements, which is very interesting. It's not going to be easy. While in pain, Fildo says that Leonard is smiling so casually, and narrates that he has begun to grasp the logic. Leonard is using an enchanting method where he does all-out focus on either muscle, strength or agility for speed, but he switches them right at the moment of attack. While Leonard is moving at a high speed to attack Fildo again, which means, as long as he doesn't lose sight of him, there will be a chance during the switch. Fildo blocks Leonard's first strike and says got him, and thinks at this moment he should, but Leonard's switch, so he quickly does it and puts his against Leonard's neck. Leonard tells him that he shouldn't have stopped at the last moment. He is a soft-hearted person, and uses his other hand to make another move. Fildo is surprised by it, to which Leonard tells him to not call it a cowardly move, as he already asked if he only has one sword as his equipment. Leonard holds his other weapon upon Fildo's neck, as Fildo is lying on the ground. Leonard adds that if Fildo can land even a single blow on him, he wins, but did he really expect Fildo to agree to that? Leonard advises him that if his hands stop in a battle like this, then the opponent won't show any mercy towards him. Then while picking up Fildo with his weapon, he says that such naivety will be the downfall of him and his comrades. Leonard then swings Fildo far away, but he manages to land on his feet with struggle. Leonard says that Fildo is being excessively irresponsible regarding his own abilities, while Fildo struggles with his vision. Leonard says, to a person like that, he will never concede a win, then says it's time to continue their match. He tells Fildo that he might not be as strong as Fildo, but he is confident in his physical strength, so they will continue until it's settled. Fildo moves further to create some distance between them, to which Leonard follows him quickly, and says it's a good idea. However, it's not good enough for someone like Leonard, as he strikes Fildo again. He says that Fildo's movement has reduced because of his compromised vision, and he thinks that it will be even more difficult to open his eye for a while. Leonard says if it was him, then he would have surrendered before he turned into a meatball. Fildo blocks another attack and narrates that Leonard is saying whatever he wants. Fildo thinks if he can pull out Excalibur in a city like this, but later realizes that it's out of the question. He says if it was Leonard, he would have instantly decided what to do. He knows it after facing him. Fildo narrates that it can't be measured by status alone, as there's an overwhelming difference in practical combat experience. Leonard is someone who confronts things seriously, so it won't be a bad idea to join his guild. Moreover, his words are logical as well, and Fildo has to learn a lot of things as he only has strength. Then, while standing in the riverbank with his eyes closed and taking a stance, he says there are some selfish desires he wants to fulfill. Leonard says his stance is admirable, but it's not enough to stop him as he approaches Fildo at a high speed. But as soon as he takes a step in the water, it makes a splashing sound. While staying fully focused, Fildo narrates that he should ignore any provocation, because if he catches on, he won't come any closer. His chance is just before Leonard launches an attack, so when Leonard is just behind Fildo to strike him, he pulls out a second X skill move. Fildo uses an absolute holy barrier Avalon, and strikes the ground to destroy it, which startles Leonard. Fildo narrates as he recalls the past, where he is sitting on a bed waiting to be called for his next job. He used to read stories and adventures from picture books, and always thought that he would never have his own adventures. However, it's time to change that version of himself, as Fildo wants to be free. Fildo finally manages to strike Leonard, and says he wants to live as a person, to which Leonard accepts his defeat. Another day, while looking for Big Brother Fildo, a kid comes through the door of Leonard's place. She enters but can't find him, while Marie asks if she's the one from the other day, and if she came all the way there to just show gratitude. Marie says that currently she won't be able to find him as he's at the training grounds, while a random person shouts. Another report says that he is in the back alley to the west. The masked man then tells Marie they will now go towards the south, to which she agrees. Marie tells the girl that she will find the building straight ahead on this main street, so make sure that she gets escorted back to her place, to which the girl goes and looks around in front of a long hallway. She finds Fildo lying unconscious and his whole body is burned. Fildo recalls the moment when he finally strikes Leonard. He is completely exhausted and asks if he did it. He narrates he got worried that he hit Leonard too hard since there was no room to hold back, and because he couldn't see him around, he wondered if he had cut him deep. But suddenly, Leonard comes and picks Fildo up and says he's amazing. Leonard says that it has been a long time since he had a good fight, and he is surprised by his hidden move, to which Fildo asks if he is injured, but Leonard says he shouldn't forcefully keep his eyes open, as it might be still stinging. After that, Leonard asks him to get some rest. He will get him a potion now, to which Fildo shows gratitude. Fildo barely keeps his eyes open, while Leonard asks why in the end Fildo deliberately goes towards the center of the river. Fildo replies it's because he wanted to constrain Leonard's movements a bit. It's difficult to accelerate from a reinforced step, because the riverbank is deep, so when he thought an attack is coming, he believed it would come straight at him by jumping in from the shallows, because it's easy to hear the sound. Fildo was worried about not being approached by Leonard after deflecting the attack, and losing the distance between them. He also had no idea how long it would take his eyes to recover. Leonard asks what he would have done if there were no bodies of water, as hearing footsteps depends on the terrain. To which Fildo replies that he would intentionally take the attack and grab his sword so that he can't move. Leonard, amused by Fildo's response, laughs and asks if he would grab his sword, which embarrasses Fildo, and thinks that he would have done it somehow. After that, Fildo apologizes to Leonard, to which he asks why all of a sudden. Leonard asks if is it because he said something to stir things up, or is it the conditions of their match. Fildo replies he knew that joining Leonard is the right thing to do, because he would surely use him correctly. His ability seems to exist precisely for that purpose, but yet he lost his temper and behaved like that. Leonard then pats Fildo's head and tells him it's not a problem. He doesn't have to worry about that. He says that he absolutely wants him, but he doesn't want to force anything, and apologizes for speaking harshly before, as insulting a valued comrade won't be tolerated by Fildo. Leonard tells Fildo to not make such a face, while he says that Lunacies is more than just a comrade. In another scene, after coming to Lunacies and Fildo's location, Leonard tells Lunacies it's convenient that there's only one entrance. Illumina asks Leonard to take the potion he asked for, and if there's anything wrong, to which Leonard asks why she thinks that. Illumina asks Leonard how is he maintaining a calm expression, to which he replies that there's no reason for it. Illumina mentioned that he was cut by Fildo's strike at that time, hearing which Leonardo gets impressed and compliments her. Then, as he takes his sword and cuts 4 of his fingers, he tells Illumina something special. That's his sword Durandal, also known as the Immortal Sword, to which both Illumina and Lunasis get shocked. While his fingers are generating back, he explains that anyone who owns the sword Durandal gains self-generative ability. It doesn't matter the kind of injury, as his fingers are back to normal. He can also recover from fatal wounds, so maybe one can call it self-resurrection. Hence, enhancement and self-resurrection are the abilities of his sword. Illumina asks if that's the reason he wanted to have the match, to which Leonard agrees, as there's no one more suitable than him. He says that it's shameful for him, because he couldn't predict the attacks. He never expected Fildo to have defensive skills as well. He tells Lunasis that recently, a dinosaur species which used to live in the plains over the mountains has been discovered dead, which makes her nervous. Leonard explains that some adventurers saw a pillar of light rise out of nowhere during the dinosaur rampage, so he guessed that it might be Fildo's doing. He could tell that because of the sword on Fildo's back. Fildo's sword is the same kind as his, and that's what he wanted to see. Lunasis asks if this is the reason he did all this, and wasn't his intention to recruit Fildo in the first place, to which Leonard replies that indeed he intends to recruit him. Their guild will become more solid if Fildo joins, as he recalls the time he left his home to become an adventurer. Leonard's father announces why Leonard doesn't understand that his talent is not meant for such things, and he won't be able to escape, even if he leaves the house. While thinking of the past, he tells Lunasis that it has to be Fildo's own choice, otherwise it's meaningless. So, it depends on what Fildo decides, he is not involved in it. While holding the potion in his hands, Leonard says that he is waiting patiently, as he doesn't want to do it right away. He tells Illumina that he will buy the potion from her, to which she says that he has a really good personality. Lunasis tells him to give Fildo the potion quickly, which Leonard denies, as he isn't only here for that, which confuses Lunasis. He then apologizes to her for his numerous impertinences, which startles her. She says that it doesn't matter, while she can teach him the sword techniques, she is not a match for the full strength of Master Fildo, so regardless of the method, their match was necessary for Fildo's sake. Moreover, all the things Leonard said about her are not false, as she certainly took advantage of Master Fildo, so she must repay the favor she received, to which Leonard tells her to wait a minute. He says that's not what he heard from Fildo, as Fildo told him that Lunasis is a benefactor or something similar to him. The reason is that Lunasis kept her promise to Fildo. Moreover, he must feel a great sense of obligation to get so angry over her, so Leonard asks if there's any misunderstanding between them. If so, it's better to talk about it as they realize. Meanwhile, Fildo narrates that being an adventurer means that you can't always wait for later, as without realizing it, he was mistaken just because he could win against monsters. On another day, Fildo narrates that if it wasn't a sparring match, he might have had his head cut off in Leonard's first strike. While leaning on a rock, he wonders whether he truly won the match, or if Leonard let him win. Fildo admits that he's far from being a full-fledged adventurer. Leonard calls out from far away to be careful as he sees Claude approaching, but Fildo mistakes him for Leonard. Leonard tells Fildo to get away from Claude, but Claude grabs Fildo's hands and holds a knife to his neck while calling him a parasite. Claude asks why Fildo is still alive after being poisoned, while Leonard uses a speed buff to quickly kick Claude away from him. Leonard tells Claude not to misunderstand. He didn't cut him in half because he wants answers. Claude sarcastically remarks that Leonard's stern look isn't very friendly, while Leonard demands answers anyway. He asks Claude if he killed the executives of the Light of Glory, to which Claude admits that he had no other choice, as they were turning away from him. Leonard asks where Claude got the state-sanctioned poison, to which he reveals that he has a merchant, who can procure anything, even allowing test cuts. He shows Fildo a sword with the guild's emblem, and asks if Leonard gave it to him. Claude accuses Leonard of deliberately giving it to Fildo, to which Fildo asks Leonard to wait and clarify. Leonard looks worried, while with an evil grin, Claude asks Leonard if he hasn't told Fildo anything. Fildo reflects that when Claude was the guild master, he seemed ambitious and capable of standing up to the silver blade. Just then, Lunasis calls out to him from behind. Fildo declares that although Claude appeared arrogant, he thought Claude was just driven to improve, but now he sees Claude's true nature. Leonard expresses deep disappointment and mentions that Claude will be handed over to the military police, while Lunasis tells Leonard to look behind. Claude quickly moves behind Leonard and begins conjuring something, to which Leonard gets panic, and Claude declares that regardless of their thoughts, everyone will die here in the end. They watch Claude open a portal and shout die as a massive claw emerges through the crack. A big winged monster comes out and strikes a blow with its claws, while Claude wonders where his calculations went wrong. Afterwards, while Lunacies is lying on the ground, Claude says that if Lunacies didn't go sniffing about Fildo, then says in the first place, Lunacies shouldn't have lied to someone like him. Claude angrily says that if Lunacies hadn't deceived him, things wouldn't have turned out this way. He then calls out to Fildo as he sees that Fildo has managed to block the attack and is panting heavily. Claude asks what's with that look on his face, and if that's how he looks to his former big brother, it's sad that Fildo has become such a heartless person. Claude then sarcastically remarks that it's true he raised him, and mockingly apologizes for not teaching him anything. As the monster stands behind Claude for his command, Claude tells Fildo not to worry about it, as death is equal for everyone. The monster blows a laser beam at Fildo, which scared him, but just then, Leonard comes and defends Fildo from the attack, and asks if he is injured. Leonard says that Fildo might have handled it by himself, but this is just the way he is. Suddenly, Fildo shockedly yells that his eyes are healing, while Leonard tells him that it's not good to move him right now. He advises Fildo to stay still, and tells him that it's probably the summoned beast, Bahamut. Fildo gets shocked seeing that Leonard's face is healing, while he says that this monster simply enjoys destruction. He heard that it was stolen from the sealed shrine and was circulating in the underworld. Leonard tells Fildo that they must stop the monster right here, to which Fildo confirms. Fildo narrates that the term level works as a guide. It visualizes the subject's ability, allowing them to recognize the competence, and those who can analyze others' level are valuable because they can provide insight. Fildo is in awe after seeing that the level of the dragon Bahamut is 200. The dragon roars, to which Fildo gets scared and thinks that he doesn't even need to look at the status of the dragon. This thing is unlike any monster he has ever seen. Fildo feels scared, as even when he faced the Rex, he didn't feel this much bloodlust. Also, he can't stop shaking. Fildo is having negative thoughts like whether Lunacies and others are safe, what is the damage to the city, or how is he going to stop this thing? They are all going to die. But just then, Leonard comes and snaps Fildo out of the loop. Leonard asks him if he has come to his senses. He got worried because Fildo didn't respond to his call, and then he uses a smoke bomb. He says that this is it for the evacuation order, and the others will take care of the rest. Then gives Fildo something to hold tightly to his chest, to which Fildo takes it and gets confused. Fildo gets surprised after seeing that it's the necklace of banishing evil, while Leonard says that if Fildo wears it, it will negate negative effects. Leonard explains that things like this monster uses the fear effect to intimidate him, then sees that Fildo has stopped shaking. Leonard orders Fildo to take the girls and get out of there, and when he meets the other members, please help them evacuate the residence, to which Fildo asks about him. He confidently tells Fildo that he's going to stop this thing, and rushes forward to the monster. Leonard announces it's about time he shows his serious side, then goes on to attack the monster. He comes and sits on the cliff in front of the monster, and as it tries to escape, he asks if the monster thought that he could get away. He uses his sword Durandal with full burst, which grants full enhancement, and then strikes the dragon in its head. Leonard thinks it's tough as expected, then decides to attack with a number of moves instead. After attacking the monster multiple times, Leonard says that it might be worn down with this. But then, he sees the monster making a massive dangerous move, and comments that it's a bit unfair. The monster hits Leonard and knocks him to the ground, to which Leonard says that it's a bit too strong. He sees the monster attacking him again with a laser beam, and realizes that he messed up. But just then, Fildo comes out of nowhere and blocks the attack, which shocked Leonard. He frustratingly comments that it's pathetic. He is an idiot as to what he is doing. Acting recklessly in front of the enemy and getting injured, Fildo thinks that there is no way he will leave him behind like that. He apologizes for ignoring his instructions and mentions that he wants to fight as well. Fildo says that he's fine, and he has confidence in his durability, which shocks Leonard. He happily comments that this is reassuring. He shouldn't hesitate to stop it, and announces that together they will now go on a legendary evil dragon extermination. In another scene, the city can be seen burning, while Marie tells the crowd to not push and to hurry up. The man named Miguel asks if this is everyone, to which Marie confirms, and says that they have evacuated most of them over there, all that is left is on that side. They suddenly see a piece of the building falling on the residents on that side, while the residents scream in panic. Marie uses her wand to hold some of the pieces in the air, and Miguel runs towards some of the other pieces and smashes them using his knuckles. Marie asks Miguel if the black dragon they saw earlier is Bahamut, to which he replies that he doesn't know, but it's an order from the boss to evacuate and stand by. While looking up to the sky, he says that they have no choice but to believe and wait. Elsewhere, Illumina coughs and sees Lunacies lying on the ground as she calls out to her in worry. On the other hand, Leonard tells Fildo to not loosen up his grip and maintain the attention of the monster to them so that the civilians can evacuate. Both of them rush towards the monster and slices its body parts using their swords, but it heals almost immediately. Fildo frustratingly says it's cheating, to which Leonard laughingly replies that it's troublesome, but he's sure that even this thing has its weaknesses as well. He adds that the damage will be far worse on the city if they don't find its weaknesses and defeat it, which gets Fildo's attention. Leonard passes a healing potion to Fildo and asks him to use it wisely. Leonard says that Fildo's attack is more likely to get through because of his level, and mentions that he will take care of the wings. Fildo sees the dragon attacking in the direction of Illumina and Lunacies, to which he gets scared. He calls out Illumina in worry while she is nervously holding her wand. She uses a protection spell called Lily's Veil as a beam of light appears. Illumina is struggling to hold the attack, while Fildo loudly tells her to get down and comes to save her. Leonard comes and asks if he is okay, to which he confirms. Fildo watches the dragon fly high up in the sky and comments that getting up that high in the air is going to be tough. He then asks Illumina if she can do that magic she did earlier when she flew in the wind, and if she can fly them to the Bahamut with that thing, to which Illumina gets shocked. She agrees that she will try, while Fildo tells her to do her best and try to not look down as much as she can. She sends them both up in the air in a whirlwind, to which Leonard uses his power buff move, while Fildo holds his sword to attack. Both of them strike together as Fildo comments that its scales are very hard. Every monster has a core nucleus as its weak point, and if it can be hit, then it will surely put up a fight. Illumina first comes down to the ground, and suddenly fear strikes her. Then both of them come down, and Leonard realizes that Illumina is in the fear effect. He yells that this is bad, the defense, but before he finishes his sentence, Illumina frighteningly gets on her knees as her hands are shaking in fear. Fildo tells her to control her magic quickly as the monster is attacking. Everyone manages to evade the attack. Fildo then counterattacks using his fist to punch several times, to which the monster takes some damage. The monster then uses its claw to put Fildo to the ground, to which Illumina freaks out. However, Lunacies comes out of nowhere and strikes the dragon, and announces that just like Master Fildo, she won't go as well. Illumina runs towards Lunacies, while the dragon gets disorientated by the attack. The monster then prepares to attack again, and as Illumina tries to cast the protection spell, Lunacies pushed her away.